Welcome everyone. Let me get my mic on properly. Welcome to my channel. This is Twin Flames 3344. My name is Evelyn. For those of you not familiar with me. And it's been a while. June has been a very interesting month for me. Go ahead and take a few deep breaths if you'd like to as we get started. I'm just plugging some stuff back in here. Okay, take a deep breath. Bringing messages in only for the best and highest good of all those concerned. So June, it's been a very interesting month for me. Well, first of all, I've been trying to do this video for weeks, and every time I go to do it, something comes up where the energy's not right or whatever. And I wasn't able to do it until today. The past 2 days, my lungs felt very taxed and heavy, and I had a headache, and I never get headaches. So I had a headache for 2 days, and my lungs felt very heavy. And I still had a little bit of that this morning, but it feels like it's easing up. It could be related to the opposition of Mercury and Pluto, but I'm not sure. And lungs have to do with Gemini in the arms. And we were in Moon Gemini several days ago. But other than that, there's not much Gemini. There will be Gemini coming up, but there hasn't been in the past week or so. So starting off, and we're going to go back to May 27th and try to work forward. I did summarize through June 7th to make it more quick as far as the first week there. June 2nd, I woke up at 2:30 in the morning passing a stone. That was fun. And I want to tell you what I did and what I experienced, so it may help anyone out there who may experience the same type of thing, because many people go through this, and it can be very, very painful. I woke up at 2:30 in the morning, and at first, it felt like it was interesting because it was radiating from my mid-waist, which is where I had my back injury. And I kept wanting to rub it out, the same places I like to rub out the muscles in my back from my back injury on my right side. And, then it just gets to a point where there's, you can't do anything to make the pain go away. So I did everything that I knew I was supposed to do. I drank water. I took Motrin. After I drank the water, a little while after that, I did vomit like 5 times. I have some rocks next to my bed, crystal rocks, and I was using them as pressure points. I was sticking them underneath my back and lying on them because it felt good to have the point of the rock in my back in certain locations. It did help a little bit. And I also have, an exercise belt. It's like a TENS stimulation of your muscles. So I used that as well to try to bring some vibrations in there to help loosen whatever was going through me. And also I have from when I injured my back, I have a vibrator massager for, big muscle groups. And I tried to use that. It wasn't easy because, of course, I was in pain. So it's pretty big and heavy. So that didn't last long. But I did do that for a little bit. And just prayed to be able to go to sleep again because it was 2:30 in the morning when this started happening. After I got sick, I tried to go back to sleep, and I was just trying to get through till the next time period when I'd be able to take more Motrin again. So I think I took more Motrin around 10 a.m. in the morning, and I drank some more water. But I didn't want to drink too much water because obviously it made me throw up the first time. And I finally fell asleep a little while after that once the Motrin kicked in, probably about 10:30, 11. And by 2:30 that afternoon, I woke up and I wasn't feeling the pain anymore. Thank goodness. So I was very lucky because it can go on a lot longer than 12 hours. So I didn't see the evidence of it. So I don't know if I passed it or if it's still in there and it was just making its way through certain channels. But when I first started feeling it, I'm like, what's wrong with me? It's very painful. I'm going to have to go to the hospital because this pain isn't going away. And I'd had a little fleeting feeling of what it felt like for a stone to pass. And two of my brothers have had stones before, so I'm a bit familiar with it. And I'd had a twinge of feeling of that, like a little stone that wouldn't really hurt me, but was passing through me. So I kind of understood what the feeling was like, which is why I all of a sudden realized, oh, that's what it is. So yeah, if you have any questions about that, let me know. Very interesting experience. I was just very thankful. I was trying to do Reiki on myself as well at the same time, which, as you know, it's very difficult to do on yourself to begin with, let alone when you're in a lot of pain. But I believe all of what I did help resolve it within the 12-hour period and allow me to actually sleep prior to that. So June, then on the 19th of June, I went to the beach with my daughter, and we were on a main route on the way down the shore. And we're stopped in traffic. It was a lot of heavy traffic. We usually go down on off days, not when it's so traffic on the weekends, but we forgot it was a holiday, so it was very trafficy that day, and we were kind of halted to a stop. And I'm sitting there about to go again, and I see a kitten running down the median lane next to me, because I was in the left side lane, and there was 3 lanes. And there's a kitten screaming, running down the median lane. So I stop my car right away as the kitten approaches my car screaming and goes around my car and disappears. So the guy behind me is seeing all this happen, and he's telling me that the kitten went in one of my pipes. So now the kitten's hiding inside my car, so I don't want to go anywhere. And he was so great. Like, I couldn't see the kitten at all. I didn't know what he was talking about at first because he was, yelling it to me from his car. But then he came out. He had something in his car to try to tempt the kitten. I don't know if it was food. I couldn't tell what it was. But he literally went under my car. And I think there was like a tube mid car that he found the kitten, where I don't know cars well, mechanically. But he put the food at one end and had he's feeding the cat over here with its other hand at the other end here, and he literally pulled the kitten out by its tail, which you can imagine the kitten wasn't happy about that. And he was able to get the cat out and hold him for a second, but he was just freaking out. So he got out of his hands again and took off across the highway. He did go the opposite direction and then closer, to the right. He went under the car in the lane next to us. It was still stopped. And I think he made it to the grass. I hope so. I hope he didn't go under that car as well. But, I couldn't stay looking for the kitten again because I don't know where he was. And, I was in the middle of traffic. But, how crazy was that? So that happened. And then, like I said, it was lots of traffic going to the beach that day. And then on our way home, we're literally within 5 minutes of getting home. And all of a sudden, a storm comes in out of nowhere, and like wind just whips up and swirls across the street. And literally within 30 seconds to a minute, there are branches down everywhere on the street that I'm going home on that were not there before. So within that 5 minutes that it took me to get home, branches were down, the power just went out. And then, so now the power's out. And we didn't hear from the power company until late the next day. And they were forecasting that it would literally be three nights of darkness before my power went back on. Fortunately for us, they had estimated the 22nd for the power to go back on at 11 o'clock at night. But fortunately, it did go on the evening prior to that, literally at 48 hours exactly. So that was very interesting. So this has been my month, and plus, and taking care of the 7 cats in the garage and trying to figure out how I'm going to, what's most comfortable for them in the summers and then the winters, because I've never had a cat before myself. I mean, I lived with a cat before with my roommate in college, but that was pretty much it. So just trying to figure out what they need, and just, taking care of them. I have both kids home, and and Teddy, Jenna's doggy, and then the 7 cats. So, it's a lot for me right now to just taking care of. It's wonderful because I love them all very much. But, it does take my time. So that's been a little bit of an obstacle to getting the energy to feel right as well to do this. All right, so that was the gist of my June. I'm sure I missed something. And then, like I said, I've had a headache and like really heavy taxed lungs. Like I felt good like the day before that. It was so weird because I felt really good that day. And then all of a sudden it was just heavy and I had this headache for 2 days. So I did a meditation for you guys prior to this video. And before I did that, right away when I was hitting my singing bowls and I was humming a bit to clear the air, Lean on Me When You're Not Strong was coming up. So the music from that, and then I literally verbalized, lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your, you might want to read the lyrics of Lean on Me. But that was coming up. And then I did the meditation with my inner child. And I'm seeing her, she was like posing as the thinking man, but with her own twist. She wasn't exactly in the same position. It was like she had her fist under her chin, but the other arm was straight up in the air. And it kind of looked like the shape of John Travolta in Saturday Night Fever, his famous pose. And also the mountain pose in yoga, with the arms, as I always forget the names of the poses, but when the arms are twisted above your head to a point, that was coming up. It was like a combination between that energy and the energy of Saturday Night Fever pose. Then she morphs into a gorilla, and the gorillas, I'm looking at them, and they're facing my right, at like the thinking man. And then not just Gorillas in the Mist came up, but Coco, who learned sign language and actually just passed away June 19th, 2018. So a lot of this kind of energy of monkeys and gorillas who were very intelligent, involved with experiments or in captivity have been coming up the past few weeks. And then I was taken to, right after the Gorillas in the Mists and the Thinking Man there and Coco coming up, I was then taken to the first Planet of the Apes at the end because it was very traumatizing for me personally. It was 1968 when the first Planet of the Apes came out. And at the end of the movie, there's a caged baby who's crying for its mama. And I can't tell you how much that affected me. And I was 7 years old at the time, or around 7 years old. So the trauma wounds, because, the apes are us, and there's these wounds coming up, that we wouldn't normally think about. But why it traumatized me so much when I was 7, and 7 was a significant age too, because I knew when I was 7 years old, I always remember thinking this when I was 7, that I knew I wouldn't be happy until I had my children around 30 years old. And I would ask God, like, well, what am I supposed to do in the meantime? Like, I have no ambition, I always wanted to be a mom, and I was very creative, but I was very shy and insecure, and I didn't know how I was going to make my way in the world. And I was 7 years old, okay, and I knew this. So then I looked up the Planet of the Apes 2, and I didn't realize how many there were. There's 10 of them now. The first one was in 1968. Then Beneath the Planet of the Apes was 70. Escape was 71. Conquest 72. Battle for 73. Another Planet of the Apes 2001. I don't know if that was a remake. The seventh was Rise of the Planet of the Apes in 2011. Dawn of the Planet of the Apes 2014. War for the Planet of the Apes 2017, and then Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes came out in 2024, which I'm sure I saw the second one, or even maybe the third one. I don't remember, but I haven't watched any of the more recent ones. But as I'm writing down my meditation, it also started at 10:05 and it ended at 10:08, and CB language had come up this week as well. So of course I looked it up, and 10.5 is pass it on, so pass on the message, and then 10.08 is just coming into service, or just came into range, or just signing on. So someone might have missed it, but others can pass it on. And then something else that came up that I found very significant. I'd watched Dirty Dancing again, and I haven't watched that in years and years and years. And it was released at the Harmonic Convergence on August 17th, 1987. So that was significant. And if you think about Dirty Dancing, there's this cross between innocence and sensuality, right? The balance, and spirits connecting with me, about bringing the opposing energies to the middle, right? Bringing her innocence and wanting to do good by other people, but also her coming of age and wanting to experience, closeness in a sensual relationship, and of course expressing it through dance. And something else I keep feeling today, and I know I felt it another day this week too, I keep feeling rumbling, like underground rumbling, and it'll just happen for a minute and then it'll go away. So that's presently what's going on. So I don't know if the under rumblings of the earth are going on, but there's a lot that have come up recently also about going into inner earth and dragons and such, and the elementals. A lot of that's been coming up in videos. So I summarized everything from the 27th of May through the 7th of June. There's a lot of symbols that came up I wanted to share with you because I felt they were significant. And some of them are coming from, I do remote handwriting. So, I mean, you can even look that up on YouTube, like remote handwriting. And it's a tool that, like, FBI, CIA, use to locate people, or try to find people or things, or understand the situation. And just like when you write, like a loop would be a human, or, a mountain would look like a mountain. You can have sharp edges, which are more electric, and then smooth edges, which is more about water. So you can try that yourself or look that up. But the messages I've been getting, so when I write, I just look at it, and sometimes right away I'll see a message. There'll actually be a word sometimes, or there'll be a couple words, and I'll keep going, and I'll go back to it the next day or a couple days later to see if something else is coming through. And some of the symbols that were coming through were the dragonfly, which is also the hexagon, right? So you have the star here, right? This is the dragonfly, but it's also the hexagon, right? This line is short, but it's actually the same as these. It's just in a different direction, so it looks short. So it's really like the this sixth flower of life. It's just in more of a 3D expression. So the dragonfly coming up here, and then this came up in one of my writings, and it was coming up as the 2 8s. And again, how I always talk about um, inside out, through and through of the crazy 8s, the 2 8s standing side by side. And here it was coming as, like, here's an 8 going through, and then this one is folding. So this is like the arched one, and this is the one folding and collapsing in towards the other one. But also this shape was coming up, and I was looking at Sumerian and cuneiform symbols and seeing what it was most similar to. And I was definitely getting this energy of Jack and Rose at the front of the Titanic when they're flying. And again, then that brings in the dragonfly, which is like 2 is 1 in a beautiful mind. And the dragonflies literally fall into a heart when they meet. And then this is 2 lowercase e's facing each other. So you see how it's 2 eggs in the nest. And that came up in so some symbolization or symbols I have in one of my tarot cards, and my website, actually, the and the reflection of je. So je in French is I, and then the reflection of that is the backwards lowercase e, and then the L. And when you put the two e's of those together, it makes this nest between a J and an L, which is like a tree. So it's bringing up like a nest in a tree. It was very interesting the way that was coming up. So, and also this is one of the symbols from Sumeria. I think it's related to Enlil, and having to do with the waters around the earth, and then the air, and it comes up like it's contained, like, and that's brought up the energy of being a ship or an enclosed portal area where this garden of the gods was, and that they marked out the seas that were salt, and then the mountains, and then of course the cradle of civilization, supposed to be the valley in the middle. But also what was coming up to here was, you know, we talk about when salt meets fresh is the vortex, right? Because the salt is heavier, salt water is heavier than the fresh, so it creates that cyclone kind of energy. But here it was coming up as the mountain is the cyclone between the salt and the fresh. It's the creation of that. The 88, the two-eyed needle of one folded and one elongated or arched, like I said, of the 2 8s. And there's a card that expresses that very well too. I think it's in the Journey of Love, where she's arching up to catch the masculine falling onto her. So he's folding and she's arching. The 88, and of course Lionsgate's coming up soon. 88 ring of fire, inside out, through and through, where salt meets fresh at the mountain. And again, the two lovers at the front of Titanic flying together, two as one, like the dragonfly. And the symbol was similar to a couple different things. I think the fish and the ox were both in there. I'm sure that will come up in my notes. But it was interesting because they had Enki labeled the cuneiform symbol was with the sun, which you would think would be more Enlil, because that's more of the right, that masculine dominance. But they both had the throne symbol in their titles. But Enlil's was more of a hand, and Enki's was the sun. So here we have, there was another symbol that came up too in my writing that is right here, like a pretzel between the two mountains, and that's what brought me to this drawing here. And again, bringing in the mix of these waters into the mountain, and then the salt would be on the other side of the mountains, the way it's labeled on that chart. The dawn also came up, which the letters break down to Father to use and the Christ to Ed bridge, or the awakening. And with dawn came up the goddess Sharita and Aya, which also means grandfather in Sumerian. She Rita, and Rita means to turn or twist, tie up or lace, to wrinkle and ripple, to row many straight. Rider. Tongue willing consent, turban or shawl, to laugh horseman knight, to ride trip snare, discord dispute and scandal, a leader, a reader, a trench, and a curtain to sway or tremble and totter. So, and a lot about laughing comes up here too, because in the words R-I or L-I, to laugh also came up. And Aquarius is literally aqua, of water, and Rias, which means laughter. So it's the emotion of laughter, Aquarius. Also, radon came up here, number 219, which is AN. And then A alone is the basic 86 radon, because there's a couple different ones. Like radon 222. So it's radon is 222, 220 is thoron, and 219 is actinon, which is the one that came up first, the 3 isotopes of radon. And 219 is mostly obsolete because it's short-lived. So the feminine and masculine, like the feminine X and Y to masculine Y, it was showing me, because I was looking at the opposition between Enki and Enlil, and just like I always bring up, the feminine is X, even though our chromosomes, like the masculine has X and Y and the feminine has just X's. The feminine holds the masculine and feminine. Like, it's easier for her to hold them in a balanced state, whereas the masculine is more heavily Y. So Ea was coming up EA as IA, which is ILLA in the feminine and ILLE in the masculine, which is she or her, I hope, I wish, sovereignty, rule, air, breath, gas, and vapor, which in alchemy is Eden. It's also life force, to rise, group, to smell it. And then in Korean, this shape came up, which is very significant here, because that comes up as the 7, and this is the shape of Somalia, which keeps coming up in my messages. So this energy of, that's gi or gay, I'm not sure how it's pronounced, I think gi, the inlet or estuary, right, where salt meets fresh, and the dog, wild, worthless, of inferior quality, or in Korean, one who behaves badly. And Jeju, Jeju is also estuary. Ever at any time, there that way on any side, shy, ashamed. Ea, body of water, river or stream. Oh, ah, alas, yes, come on, come now, so and so now. And Teddy was giving me the eye that day, like, what are you not doing that I want you to do? Oh, and by the way, red keeps coming up. Red everything, which will come up in my notes as well. So then ILE came up here when I was doing these notes, and it also came up under the number 110, which came up a couple weeks ago, but it came up again yesterday, the number 110. So I looked it up again in Gematria, and there's this weird entry of, it starts with ESA, or A, I don't know. And it kind of brings up the word easy a lot when I translated it in Google Translate. But the ILE came up there too, which of course can be an isle, an island. And Lil, L apostrophe IL, or capital L apostrophe ILE with a cap over the I, is coming up as Ea, EA as the she, and IL as the he, and IL is he in French. 51 and 91 of the King of Swords and Central Sun coming up here, and that was at 1136. As Ea equals Eden and vapor, which Eden, by the way, adds up to 28, which is the Two of Wands and that twin flame energy. And vapor is air and water, what we need to survive. We are earth and matter, and fire heats the water to separate the air or lighten it. The heated state of water is evaporate or disappearing. Heated was coming up as he ated, like the number 8, he ated. Or 8, H is 8 and E is 5, which is he. And 8 and 5 are considered greased lightning because it's power and freedom together. And grease, that's funny, greased lightning comes up, right? Because then we have John Travolta coming up again. Oiled light, 13 of a greasy portal, right? Because portals look greasy because they're like, they look like watery oil and air all together. And to hold that greasy portal in a condensed state. So in the states of matter, we go from, gas to, or solid to liquid to gas, and then to I'm just blanking out on the word. I don't know why. Not ether, but plasma. Thank you. Then plasma, right, which is a heated state, and then it goes to the um, Einstein-Bose condensate, I think that's what it's called, which then brings that state into being able to hold it in a cold state. The masters of the hidden house, the Hierophant and the Emperor, the Hierophant and the Angel, one of two worlds of realms. To rise, dawn, is to heat up and lighten, no more than 85 to 86 degrees. So it also took me into extreme weather temperatures. There was a chart from 1961 to 2025 about Death Valley, and I was born in 61, so that was funny. About Death Valley, and the record temperature was 130 degrees twice. Let's see here, 8/16/2020 and 7/9/2021. And the low was 119. In 2025, from 128 to 29, dropped to 117. The hottest on Earth recorded was 134.1, July 10th, 1913, at Furnace Creek Ranch in Death Valley, California. The hottest temperature a human can endure is actually 95, and this was from a live science study, livescience.com from 2020. 6 hours with 100% humidity, the sweat no longer evaporates, leading to heat stroke, organ failure, and death. Quote unquote, wet bulb temperature. And this was an article from August 12th, 23, or 46 degrees Celsius and 50% humidity. 7/23 was recorded as the hottest in history. Most people are vulnerable when the temperature's over 65. Or most vulnerable, rather, are the adults over 65 and then children, actually, after that. On 6/4/25, then I noticed there was a massive dust cloud from the Sahara that hits the U.S. in the southeast that week of June 4th that usually blew across the Atlantic from Africa to Florida, Louisiana, Alabama, Mississippi, and that was Wednesday. But it can benefit as well because it can prevent hurricanes from forming. And it had reported that it was thickest on Thursday. So, like I said, HE is 8 and 5, is greased lightning, which is he, also the masculine. But she is greased lightning, the he, HE, and the S of the sun. She at EED was coming up here. So where heated came up for he ated, she ated comes up as sheeted. He ated and she ated is heated and sheeted. And at apostrophe EED with accents over the E's is adolescent girl or maiden, girlfriend or sweetheart in Navajo. He is heated, she is sheeted. So some of the symbols that came up with that cuneiform symbol I showed you with that was like Jack and Rose at the front of the Titanic ship. The most similar symbols to that drawing was the ox and the bird, like together. And perhaps like not the orchard because it was too big, it was too complicated, but perhaps a small orchard, which is what? A garden, right? So you have the ox and the bird in the garden. And in Sumerian, I forget which word it is. It's a 2-letter word, means both bird and bull. And here we have bird and ox and the garden. Okay, so that was the shape it was making. That symbol, the grounded bird or birds of paradise or Eden, the 2 8s or double 8s, or heated and sheeted, and then shiatsu is coming up. She folds, he folds, she flies. And then I was getting from shiatsu was coming up the finger and the downward force or pressure of acupressure coming up there. 11 was coming up, and then it was, again, they were relating it to my name because, you know, people, when I'm young, Evelyn, people always say Evelyn because they don't know how to say my name. So it's the same, would be the same letters as 11, except one of the E's is actually a Y. But 11 was also coming up as Levin, right? L, Eve in the middle, and then N on the other side. L even and Elive N, where LEVN is defined as leftover or to leave inexpensively, a relic or survival there. So the circus ring and lion's gate come up with the 8-8, and that symbol of Jack holding Rose up as a bird at the front of the ship. And part of shiatsu, or SHIA or SIAT, is the number 7 came up again, which is like that, the shape I showed you of Somalia, which also is defined as cradle. So you have that 7 and cradle and to sow, right? And it was agriculture there. And shiat is also sheet and shirt. And again, it brought me back to the pod in the valley of Eden, or the God's garden, and bringing back all those symbols I showed you on the prior page. And Jack and the Beanstalk and giant Rose were coming up, regarding Jack and Rose. And again, the picture of the two mountains, right, with the valley below, the pod in the valley of Eden. And it was reminding me when I was in southern France of the lake I was at that was between two mountains, and there were butterflies everywhere. And then I saw dragonflies mating at the side of the lake, which I'd never seen before. I was so excited about it. I was running around and have pictures of it. So the Garden of the Gods and the dawn, now I'm getting the dawn of the Planet of the Apes. And the pod, if you smush the pod together, it's O on top of O, and then next to O, which is BD, lowercase d, which is BD. It literally looks like, where did I write it? Here. It literally looks like capital B and lowercase d, or it looks like POOL, like pool. But it's also like bed. The pod in the valley of the French lake, the dragonfly, the garden of the gods and the dawn, and the pod. And then BD also came up as BAUD, which is bits per second, or unit, which equals 1 it, right? So bits is B it, and unit is, so that's 2 it, and unit is 1 it. And remember, it has been coming through my messages as meaning word. And then bits being 2 it words. And baud was also coming up as AUD, being gold, which B plus gold is B and D with goal in between, GOL, which was coming up as the rose. He housing, she the note or tone, Sophia's pin and spin, all right, so Sophia S and pin, the spin, where he 8, he's the number 8 with strong back, she's infinity with strong resolve. The gold between the capital B and lowercase d, which notice that C in the middle, and also the plus sign. The risen, the human embodied by source, harmonic convergence, bringing song to his heart. She collects the light from the sun, which he stores using with room to grow, vacuuming regularly, exchange is gold, be go or leap to her with a D on the end as in herd, flower and bring roses, hollow, accepting self to float higher, the sine wave of row and house inward, I two-way portal of unit and bit, words 1 and 2, or S words of I am. So from my remote handwriting on the 28th there, it was coming up as water, waves, and sea, magic mushroom, mountain free. One with mountain, stone or person stuck in crevice, not part of the mountain. So in my writing, it looked like in one mountain, there was a mushroom coming out of it. And the other mushroom had a crevice in the middle, and there was a stone stuck in. And this is before I had a stone. So how telling is that? Each mountain with secrets inside to release, waves to grow, release and fall. When making waves, become one with the mountain. But when there's no waves, the stone gets stuck in the crevice. And again, that could be a reminder to drink more water. Not one with the mountain. And then the rapids must come to push you over the cliff or edge, and water fall. The mountain is where salt meets fresh. If you don't drink enough water, your body gets salty. When you don't swim in the ocean, your body gets fresh. The fresh water you drink meets your salty waters to create a vortex and spins so you stay balanced and sweat it out if needed. But you must put the fresh water in. If the cyclone stops, it eats houses and spits them out, becoming a mountain of volcanic activity. So breathe some fresh air in the garden, and then the salt air of the sea. Then merge the two in the mountain between to get that stone flowing, to soften its sharp points and rivers and streams, and its dry skin with lush trees of green. And this was all coming up on the 28th of May before I passed the stone on the 2nd of June. Okay, so the word that's both bird and bull is am, like I am in Sumerian. It means both bird and bull, and am3 means to be. The cuneiform symbols for bird and ox most similar to the bridge of my 88 symbol, the one folding and one arched and flying, like Jack and Rose in Titanic. And HAMUN came up as one of the words in Sumerian. It means harmony. And MUN means fish or salt. HA means fresh vegetables. And also An's crucible, a whispering heart, was coming up. So this is a website called translatormaker.com, and it doesn't just directly translate one language to the other. Like in Sumerian, it literally puts more into the translation than that. You can read about it on their website. Like I said, translatormaker.com. And there is a Sumerian English translator. So you put whatever you want in English on the left, and it comes up as, for example, what's on there now from my last thing I put in there: the heavens weep, the earth sighs. And here was coming up An's heart as Enki's embrace, the fertile field of the heart. An's love for both Enki and Enlil's embrace. Aski's song, one's essence or totality, a radiant bloom upon the earth. So over and over, Enki keeps coming up as the lord of the place, right, of earth, the earth and water, and Enlil as the lord of the wind, and even a ghost, right, not an etheric being, a lord of wind and fire. The lowercase lil in Sumerian is the fool or ghost and wind and breeze, but also the capital Lil is Kur, as in Ekur, which is temple, the temple entrance. So I was literally getting that the garden of the gods was the temple entrance. It was like a portal entrance to be able to go even to Nibiru, which is an Anunnaki location. LIL capitalized is also knowledge and plain, the temptation of Lilith I was getting. And then LI is branch, and then IL is the basket or bird, to raise, tax, or worker. And then LI-IL is bird in basket or bird on a branch. And raising family was coming up with that as well. IM is clay and heaven, rain, I think it says river, storm, wind, and year. So that's interesting too, right? That everything we use as IM here is clay, which references the first formation of the humans, upgrading our DNA. Love, I put love in that translator, and it came up as Enkidu's heart, a fertile field, sown with the seed of Ishtar's light, a blossoming, a blessed embrace, where destinies intertwine with might. And then the 8 senses came up, because we always, everyone knows the 5 senses, and most people know the 6th sense, but do you know the 7th and 8th sense? And that day, a big slug was at my back door. It was literally right outside my back door waiting to come in. And I put it, in the bushes. And then the next day, it was eating the cat's food. It was so funny. So anyway, there's energy of slug there on the 28th. And then the 8 senses came up. And of course, the first 5 is visual, auditory, olfactory or smell system. I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing them correctly. Gustatory is the taste system, and tactile system is 5. 6 is the vestibular or sense of head movement in space system, or spatial relations was what I was getting. And actually, when we did not achievement tests, but testing what areas that you were strongest in elementary school, the one thing I tested close to 100% was in spatial relations, and I always remembered that from a very young age. Number 7 of senses comes up as proprioceptive. Okay, proprioceptive, sensations from muscles and joints of the body system. And a lot of this gets into, kids that we're dealing with who don't get signals properly from their muscles or joints here. And then number 8, having to do with interoception, sensations related to the condition of the body like hunger and thirst, internal sensors of what our internal organs are feeling, or something that tells you to pee or to poo. And some people who don't get that signal, detected through nerve endings lining respiratory and digestive mucous membranes. And again, talking about from number 6, from empaths and intuitives to ADHD and then to autism issues, we're really coming up around that. Okay. Now let's see what I missed here. So I used the dictionary from the UPenn Museum. It's oracc.museum.upenn.edu. And it's lowercase e, capital PSD2, and then TOC. The EPSD Sumerian Citation Form Index. If you want to look up words, it's the best one I've found to literally find definitions. So like I said, the dawn was coming up strong, not just with Sharita and Aya, but also Umu and Yuma. And in Sumerian, Hu, Ma, H with the little arc beneath it, and U, and Ma. And Hersag was interesting looking up too, as in Nin Hersag. And Nin, of course, is lady or queen. It can just denote a royal position as well, because boys can be Nin as well. But the capital Hersag, a lot of the capitals in lowercase mean different things. And Hersag can also, but it's with the N that's long on the second side of the N, can mean barber or mountain. But I was getting more of Nin Hersag as the royal, eternal head person, the immortal, or the front side, the one, sitting next to the chief. And like I said, Lil is fool and ghost, and knowledge and plain with the capital Lil. The entrance mouth, and the apple, the father's temptation. And of course, Ki doesn't, I mean, it means earth, but its first meaning in Sumerian is place. It's a location, the land, Mother Earth, and matter. Mother's embrace or womb. The priest, the En isn't just Lord, it's priest Lord, because they were literally kings and priests of their states, of the city states. And the temptation here of the plane, the priest lord of the earth location, and of Anu's breath and sacred womb, where Enlil speaks and Enki creates, mind over matter, literally. The queen of hearts with who on the heart of also came up for her. There's a couple messages of the day coming up from the 29th. On June 1st, Himiko came up again. She was a princess queen in Japan, who was not married and was recognized as, the leader by men as well back then. It was 175 to 248 was her time period. She was also known as Shingi Wow or Wo. She was considered a shaman queen of Yamatai, princess child, descent of Amaterasu. The word mandala came up, which is circle, man's valley, blood, to cause to create, man's needle in the haystack, the pin, the summoning of angels or flooding, intoxicated remembrance of companion in the valley or dumping site. And Naha, all these Japanese cities keep coming up. So Naha was one that came up here, the garden entrance gateway to Okinawa, as we have the anniversary, which I have said over and over again, on August 6th is the anniversary of the nuclear bombing. And Wa is also circle. So all these words meaning circle were coming up. And also, I'm watching Elena Danan's video on the 2nd. Nibiru came up as the name of Ia's current flagship, where Ia's in a much higher vibrational state now than he was back then. And the word tic-tac, I kept saying, when I wanted to say TikTok, I kept saying tic-tac, and here it was coming up as one of the ships. The tic-tac ships, there was one seen in Southern California, November 14th, 04. That was a famous sighting. 6/3 was my father's birthday, and his picture with me fell off the mantle, which it never falls off. So that was a nice shout out from my dad. And Saba in Sumerian, S-A-B-A, with an accent over the S, means stone. And headache came up there too as Sama's brow, heavy with the weight of a forgotten dream. Probably had a headache from after, passing the stone. And by the way, in Sumerian, M-A-S with an arc over the S. I don't know what they're called. The one that is arced up as opposed to, it's a smile. It means twin. That's one of the meanings. And S with a cap on it, A-G, means heart. Let's see here. Say twin flame mass, high vibe magic O, the student of selves, the seeker of Nin's mental release, the moral man with arrow and message to bring. And then satellite F had come up that day too, which is a ship communications system and international distress system, satellite F, that came up in my twin flame reads messages. Twin destined momentary recollection to know and use magic. And then on the 4th, under one sky was coming up with on, and then NZ, where on is one, right? AN is one, but it's also A is the energy of the rocket, and N is the bridge back and forth. And things keep coming up as Newton's cradle. And here it was going from AN, and then the 3 balls in the middle of Newton's cradle were coming up as the street, or the 0 point field, right? Because the 3 balls in the middle resonate, right? The 1 ball hits the 3 balls in the middle, and the energy resonates through to the final 5th ball, which then reacts and leaps. And the NZ means sleeping. So we have the rocket to sleeping bridge, and also is coming up as omega. And 26 for me, that number is Newton's cradle, which was that day when I was doing the summary, was 626. And swinging the twin bridges to embody the source between. And the omega symbol was uh, I was guided to draw it like this, right? So the omega symbol is coming up as the A to Z here, or the 26 of Newton's cradle. And then this is the O between. And 25. And that had to do with, I wrote 25 left because that had to do with the numbers from A to 15 is O, and then 15 to 26 at the end of the alphabet. And it was coming up as like the two gate holders and the bridge between, the omega symbol. The Bird and the Bull, One Bound Sky. And the movie Ghost also came up, and the name Sam has come up multiple times. Yoko also came up, and you can look at my Instagram, TikTok messages. I usually post them to my second Facebook page, and sometimes the YouTube, not all of them, but I always post all of them to Instagram and TikTok if you want to watch them, because a lot of my messages from in between these messages I have posted already. Okay, so you can check them out. So Yoko came up with Yuku, and that was coming up as time to sleep in hollow. And a lot was coming up about Yoko regarding her daughter who had been kidnapped by her daughter's father when she was young. And when she was age 30, she finally called Yoko. The name Anunnaki was come up as prime creator's heart and mind. Literally, it was translating that way. Of mind and heart. The divine masculine's word, the divine feminine's whisper. Ki is the place, Lil is the state of being. So again, Enki and Enlil weren't names, they were titles, right? Lord of the earth, Lord of the wind. It was coming up as Ki is the place, Lil is the state of being, the city state of man. See in gratitude the path of 8, of companions or partner. And then the word of Ki and Lil together is K-I-L-I-L, and K-I-L is short, and Kililam is circlet, like a headband. And the message was coming up as the short circuit here. Red diamond came up this day. That's one of the reds that came up. And again, my J and L, which becomes the tree with the nest between, and the tree with the fruit also, because the backward E can also represent a 9, which can represent fruit hanging from the tree. The 2 peas in the pod and the nest. And there's a lot of symbolism coming I was playing with. The word NES also came up as something that means red. The Y, the actual Y letter represents the corner of a square, 3-dimensionally, right? And the node points, whereas the X was coming up as the bridges of dimension. Because if you look at it, look at those energies in a 3-dimensional cube. The Y is the corner of the cube. The X represents bridging the dimensions because it goes from one side to the next. And 3 cubed is, of course, 27. And 11 cubed is 1331, which is the reflecting of 1331, which is death and life, or control and chaos. 7 cubed came up as 343, was significant because the 3s and 4s keep coming up, and of course it's my business name too as well, Twin Flames 3344. And 13 cubed is 2197, and I looked up this stuff in gematria. And number 27 and 2197 is the new twins. Level playing field came up here, and it's time. The blessed one of the reed-filled fields, sleeping universe, floodplain, coil, or circling left, of long extinct Celtic in Gaul. The yellow dragon also came up, and the lava, the fiery breath of On. June 6th, the 8 senses came up. We went through that already. And on the 8th, number 1, that's when 110 came up, but it came up again yesterday. And 110 came up from Anunnaki, right? Because Anunnaki is An, Un, Na, Ki. So it's 1, 1, Na is 0, and then Ki, which is the place or land or earth. So 110 came up, and hydrangea had come up that day as well, which is part of the aster or star family of flowers. And the movie called Moon Man 2022 came up. It's a Chinese movie. It's a comedy where he's off planet. And I was trying to find where I could watch it because I did want to watch it. And he's got a kangaroo stuck with him off planet, King Kong Roo, who was a red kangaroo. Okay, so now we have 3 reds, and that wasn't all of them. On 6/9, my crystal ball was glowing. And also January 20th, 26 was coming up. There's a trine like with nothing else in the picture of the astrological chart. And then on February 17th next year is the year of the horse. And then my geese video had come up randomly. And in that video I had done, so the geese video, my tag had the geese in it on my house. And in that video, there was a double flame. So you see I have the flame here, but there was a double flame that day. For whatever reason, I had a double flame in there. And one went out at 2:44 and the other went out at 2:52 on my video. And for me, 44 and 52 over and over again have come up as 2 perspectives of Athena. 44 is Hercules and 52 is the Queen of Swords or Lady Liberty. And 44 and 52 equals 96. And 96 has been coming up over and over again, which is the inside out through and through of the 698 pod. So when it's the 698 pod, 6 and 9 are facing each other and become the 8 in the middle. But when you've integrated through and through, inside out through and through, it becomes the 96, which is then a bow, which is a knot tied loosely, which also comes up as 44, which when you reverse 1-4, it's an arrow, 44. And the 4 comes up as the plus sign or the cross, the intersection in the middle of the void, that energy. And the difference between the Y and the X coming up, right? Because the plus sign is the intersection, but the Y, it's more of a choosing of a path in one direction, where the intersection is a place where you can go in any direction, which is more of the void energy. The 44 and 52, 96, and then the 44 is the arrow upward, and then the 52, when it's smushed together, becomes a square on top of a circle, but the number 8 basically. Athena, oh, and Athena came up, so I'd gone into looking at Athena a bit one day, and one of the stories of Athena isn't that she got jealous and turned Medusa into a gargoyle, but that she was rescuing them from Poseidon raping them, because he would just, go around. He thought everybody wanted some of his stuff, I guess. And Medusa was changed to a gorgon, but also Corona was changed into a crow, and that specifically says that she was saving her from Poseidon's raping her. Divine intelligence was coming up, and she's also referenced as the sea eagle, which comes up a lot, right? As the eagle is eagle, the sea gull, the temple of the sea. And in the city of Elis, known as Cydonia, the protector and of the anchorage, and this is again still regarding Athena. And so here we have Athena related to a place called Elis, and Athena is coming up here as Lady Liberty, and here we have Ellis Island, right, an island to himself. The Erech Thuion is the sanctuary devoted to Athena and Poseidon, a place of cleansing ritual. And her symbol is the red owl. And I was trying to interpret some of the symbols on the red owl picture. And it was coming up as the moon and monthly, the temple of the moon, the divine temple, the human bird of the Lord, priest, king, Ea, the eighth night, and Henry VIII I am, and that was coming up from Ghost as well. Right, Henry VIII I am, and that's that energy of Poseidon, doing whatever he pleases. But then the story of Ninhursag getting back at him for sleeping with their granddaughter, and that's when if she didn't come to save him, he would have died. And so she did, and then he turned a new leaf and became, right, the divine masculine he was supposed to become. The freedom of the reflected sign, the never-ending descendants that catch you when you fall. And that was coming up with freedom on the 11th. And then another message of the day on the 11th. The lotus was coming up, hardworking, the three kings of Orion's belt. Within Orion's belt is the Flame Nebula and the Horseshoe Nebula, right? Really interesting. Since I talk about Mr. Eds as a talking head all the time. And the flames. And then on 6/12, the child was coming up, and Monday's child, and MON is also moon child. And then again, the energy of the Newton's cradle was coming up here with this shape coming up from that 1-111 underscore 1. So the ball in the beginning is actually slightly different than the ball on the other side. And also the symbol of the plus sign in the circle, which represents salt and fresh, because the circle with the vertical line is pie, fresh pie, and then the circle with the horizontal line means salt. And when it's underlined here, it was referencing grounding the crossroads here, where salt meets fresh. And the meat was coming up as well, MEAT, right? Ground meat, grinding. That's funny because a grinding source came up today as well. And dragons were coming up there. The horsepower of 144 turns of the water wheel, and I am in two-part harmony. And the one, and then the three ones in the middle and the one on the other side was coming up as here and not here. Monday's child, Farah face. Farah was just coming up there. I don't know why. And again, the grounding where salt meets fresh meat, or grounding meat. And now I'm getting the meet cute, like in a movie when all of a sudden they run into each other. Charged, the horsepower of 144 turns I am in two-part harmony, charged with a mission and salty dragonfly to wake up and harmonize. And then Sirius red came up, which is a direct red number 80, which is my destiny number. And then it's also a cardiac muscle stain, stain as in Stainthorpe, my last name. And then red dawn also came up that day. And on the astrological charts, the shapes of envelopes keep coming up, like opened envelopes and closed envelopes. And a lot of kites have been coming up too. All right, so now we get past that beginning. So on the 8th of June, again, that number 110 came up with Anunnaki, and key not only being the place, but also the key. This was at 9:09. And so, of course, I looked up 110 in Gematria, and the first entry was pain. And when I looked up hydrangea that day, there was also word ANGEANGE, which also means pain. And hydrangea is the garden water vessel. And also hortensia, so the name hortense. That was the word of the day I brought up that day. And it's the family of the star, or the pinwheel, the aster family, which I posted an aster pic as well with a little bug serenading the aster flowers, beautiful flower. And under pain, the number of hits it had was 6666, which is 24, which is also omega. 2 moms. The second entry was mom. Some of the other entries were PO in college, Kill Bill, Chokmah, which is wisdom, CHOKMAH in Hebrew. And here was that weird word, EASAOILS, again, the island there, and then SAS, all with the accents all over the place there. E, and then LT, and then A. 26, and then the name Cherie came up, and Ibis, as in Thoth, and then the name T came up, TEE. Akash, Agata, Lair, Mahalo, Taha, Fencing, Babbitt, Dingo, and then Ankna. So not just Ankh, ANKH, but ANKHKNA. And then eye contact came up for that translation in Bengali. And also in Javanese, my child, Ankna. And Urdu, to withdraw, his or her. And Ankh is life, to live, the symbol for life in Egyptian. And KNA is to need, as in a cat needing you, right? The massaging, needing to know. KNA is also St. Kitts and Nevis, if that represents something to you. And ELTA also came up as to chase, hunt, and need with a K, KNEAD. Okay. So I translated that weird word, the EASAOILS, and in Hindi it was, it's time for me to take it in my arms. In Canada with a K, is this a good idea? Urdu, it was so Alice, and Alice came up today as well, again with it. And Thai, ease, is that you? E, let A, so there's that even atom energy. And then Telugu was as Aya, Dawn, Mills, sauce, A, let A, let's go to the mills. And grinding mills, that's what came up this morning under that same phrase. And then in Tamil, it came up, is it a good idea to leave a message or to have a drink? It's time for me to take it in my arms. This is a good idea. This is a little bit of shame. So Alice in Wonderland, so upside down or reversed. E is ease. Is that to you? E, let A. Let's go to the mills. It's a good idea to leave a message or have a drink. And this is late also came up. So interesting that the grinding mill came up today, because we talked about grounding meat. So grinding meat. But the grinding mills don't have to do with food. It has to do with minerals. And it's a better way to grind them so that the iron doesn't get on the minerals or doesn't cause any contamination. So under that 110, then pain key was coming up, which is also pinky and pen key. Okay, and I did a lot of mother's messages, so you can check them out. You can check them out online. Okay. Don't need that one. This is the picture of this is that it's hard to see on my scratch all over the place, but this is the owl of Athena, the red owl. And Sigma and Omega were both coming up on that. And SU4 is red. Again, that was a Sumerian definition. SU and the number 4. means red. It's a red owl. And again, like I said, ITI means sun or stone rock, sharp pointing, rapid, swift, clever, able, water, tree, wood, bird droppings to germinate, sprout, tea, thus, knife, now, little, small, to go, to throw. And in Sumerian, ITI means moon or month or monthly and new moon. The temple of the moon, the divine temple, the human bird of Ea, the Lord, priest, king. And that was what's coming up with the red owl. And T-he, H-I is cover or mix. The arrow is the cover. It was coming up as Athena's civilization, because capital M-E literally means the gift of civilization. All right, let's see if we can get to a message of the day for you here. Let's go back. Feel that again. Like something under the ground is grumbling, grinding. All right, let's see what I have here. So Nirvana, my Philadelphia museum deck, and medicine deck here. Okay, this is the underlying energies, the cards that wanted to come out, and then additional cards that wanted to come out. I used for numerology. Okay, so this one was from the 29th of May. I haven't done a lot of these the past couple weeks, so it's just going to be the first couple weeks of June. The energy of equally stinking, in gratitude for remembering with compassion, twin reflection extending arms, as in arms wide open, and armpits exposed. E and C was coming up, as well as GD between. And there's that energy of little t leaping, where C can hold E. Between C and E is D. D is short for pi, the circle with the line down the middle, because the letter M used to be written like pi, like two parentheses with a 1 in the middle. That was the letter M. And D was an abbreviation for M. So D and M are basically the same letter. And they're both 4s as well. Sharing creations 1 and 2, 1 radiating rainbows, 2 with teal to break up the dirt, in blue and green, with A for absolute effort, and teachers and moon reflecting each other. After 3 versions of transcendence with liberation of monkeys, ETs, and elephants. Right? Interesting, because monkeys came up again today. The phoenix and the cords that run through it equally. Translucent rose, teal, and white, blue-green mist, or mist, gorillas in the mist. Red being pink and white, and that came up yesterday, the day before again. At 11:38, which is the Queen of Cups, and Justice, the underlying energy of the Two of Cups, after the Magician, with token or pin, the feather, and guitar. I wanted to say quill, though. Or pot, or grease, or pod and cheesesteak, and full reverse, the Fanatic. 2 recovering from the King of Cups reversed. Pin, pen, pod, and penny were all coming up there. Of Hierophant, drummer, and guitarist foolish fans, recovering the King of Cups reversed, with 2 of Cups 1 to 1. The lovers in the sun. The eagle, lion face, medicine, and sun radiating. Leo, Gemini, cat twins, partners, and lovers. PTSD, and the underlying energy of the skunk. after teddy bear. The 16 of the raven, 17 of the mountain lion, and 7 of the skunk. The raven's call of the wild, or cat call for Stinky to come out. Scorpio, Aquarius, and Cancer, Southern Star. Stinky now with fans. And the first card coming out there was the 10 of turtle, slow and ancient, and the 20 of the mouse of Cancer, Libra, and Aquarius, and Sagittarius. And July 10th and 20th were coming up there. The skunk, the turtle, and the mouse. And I was getting like related to my personal situation as the dog and the mouse, because there's a mouse in the house, and the teacher and the conflict within. The 5 of Cups, Huron, with space to get over it. Grateful for lovers, turtle and mouse. In Teddy's destined wake-up call to those in twos, seeing couples pair up to end the inner war. To be strong and reflect, the reputation precedes Mother Earth to scrutinize and see every detail, and just give space. Peacock to Phoenix was also coming up as Philadelphia to New Jersey. Masculine with affection showered by females and teachers of compassion. Perhaps there could be a lot of females hovering around the divine masculines right now, one-to-one, or being on their own. Bird calls, cat calls, suddenly a star. When the chariot has a specific smell, the turtle is slow, and the mouse must first examine every detail before exposing themselves. Dear teachers and PTSD, when the 5 of Cups sadness comes up, it's time to get some space and go within. This one on the 29th. The new moon from 527 here was coming up as the green moon of Noha. And in my mother's messages, Noha had come up as the feminine version of Noah. The boat on the blue scalloped mountain, the ship behind the moon, and someone's arrival. The monkey, the ET, and elephant again coming up here. And the phoenix. And the mask and prism of transcendence, of abundance, assertiveness, the boat and weightlessness, the conch shell with pearls through the new moon, the rose light and Noah's boat in a cloud of weightlessness, a portal that lifts, and a boat that's expansive, a shell and boat that's expansive. Pink is the sand, and remember it was coming up as red and white. Pink is the sand, shell and desert, green Noha and green moon. White is the mist that clouds the view, channeling through the hands. The right removes the mask, the left with tear that breaks the light. And decap was coming up, but that can reference decapitation, right? Taking the head out of it. And here the pyramid was coming up as cut in half. You know how there's a cap on the pyramid? And it was coming up as an opening at that point. The triangle of 3 color groups, rose, teal, and white. The evil eyes projecting, unable to believe their eyes, actually seeing transcendence. And return to sender was coming up as well. Let's get past some of this. we have here? I don't know if you can hear Teddy, but he's panting. It's very hot out. Journey Med. Okay, so this message is here. So the Journey of Love on the top, and then the Medicine deck, and Nirvana, and then the Inner Child deck at the bottom. The same setup, the underlying energies to the left. And there's usually 3 cards that come out. It depends on how I'm dealing. Sometimes there's not. And then the extra cards at the end, which I bring into the numerology and to complete the storyline. So this was from June 1st. And the Journey of Love, the Medicine deck, the Nirvana, and Inner Child were all pulled at 249, 50, 51, and 52. The numbers of 1101 and 2303, Justice of Space in Leap with more space for the Emperor, Chariot, and King of Cups. The Six of, in the underlying energy, the Six of Swords with peace riding the wave of Sophia's equal space and chariot or vehicle to breathe in. On the backs of twin swans, twins to you, ons. The shack and equanimity was coming up here, but it's coming up broken down as Quan, I-M-I-T-Y. Comply, be equani and mighty. The backs of the twin swans, to use ons. Shack of the Quan, and I am in gratitude. And mighty. The copper phoenix sits in my Asian vase, on centeredness, being breathed on like the wind, then with space to breathe in the valley of her mountain. The underlying energy of reading after the 12 of self-initiation, 13 of gifts received, of wisdom transition from 12 to 13, which 12 and 13 is 25 this year, of finding peace, the hanging man and death, and divine infinite Ea, the initiation of the void, to receive gift in nature that opens your heart to peace in the flow. The first card of the 7 in shifting universes, the 47 of soft, 5 of the communal dance, and 15 of the mother praise, for Christ consciousness to come through the heart as fire. Pedaling on boat 28 in peace, and then shifting gears to soften to it, make it easier, with heaven in your eyes and freedom to commit to the community, the egg, where the dark mother preys on them. The codependent societal norms and the true magic that comes through the heart of music, pearls, eggs, and roses, or pearl jam and guns and roses, and egg harbors regarding sentient intent or resentment. The underlying energy of Sophia after the 43 of the spider, 34 of the grouse, the elephant, 23, opossum, and 11, the moose. Coming together in the web to exchange with elephant. An elephant is big breath. The King of Wands playing dead, so Bullwinkle can align with Sophia. Friendly breathwork or meditation online as the King of Wands Libra between Elephant and Sophia, as the first next card is Teddy Bear and the 6 of Snake of 2025 in June of Gemini and Virgo year. The family nesting in a huddle as a family as the 15 wolf howls, and 615 specifically coming up here. 37 of the King of Cups antelope, the twins and the goat, and the antelope. The moose to Sophia, as Teddy is to Snake. And that's the teddy bear card. Or is that Snake Annika, who's the shepherd behind us? You know, that's Teddy Bear's friend. And she's a Gemini. And right, we were in Gemini at the time. And I have a lot of Gemini relatives, so that was coming up. The wolf howls and dear one is silent, with space at 28, or housing to protect everyone, with a hard shell that has their back in a storm. An authentic expression of compassion, liberation, and equanimity. Being real. You, gentle and free and centered. As the phoenix has risen, the lotus has fused. Not the monkey in the middle, but the ET and, so it's like plus, infinitely. The direction reflected the rocket inside. The next first card is the synthesis, or sin, the seas. Sophia Y, Christ the seas. Reflecting one another allows for transcendence of threes. The copper that turns green, the oxy, white, clean. Hanging out the dirt, then the grime to purify, oxy style. Hugs of she and he, or hugs and kisses at the Y in the road. The underlying energy next at 421, which is the Emperor and the World, is the 7 of breath, or breathing in, after the 31 of seeking guidance in this. A new perspective, and 19 that it is never truly the end, that all is okay, so breathe and run wild. Take a break, ground and integrate, and do some breath work today. The gift of group in the sun and the chariot, where the next first card is a time to remember with 1 and 6 to become aware, to look at your childhood and listen to your body and observe. The 42 that you deserve to be seen, let yourself be known. The 14 of flow with the rhythm, and the 8 of choosing yourself today. The 20 that it's time to celebrate. So dance and wake, it's time to celebrate each day. With 18 and 22, and it's okay to be misunderstood, to let it come forth. Subconscious and leap of faith, the swan by the waterfall, let yourself feel it. The 3 and 15 of being present and getting lost. The Empress and the Devil, the eagle and temptation, to find clarity and fall deep into your imagination. And 7-1 came up here along with 6-4 to 14 and August 20th, and today is 7-1. So there's a shift of Cancer energy there, and sun or sight, revelation, dazed and amazed, the power of sight or sin and synonym, the torsion angle of 0 to 90 degrees, and the sun with or co-thesis or synthesis, magic, a time to remember. Softening to sights and eggs in snake's basket, purifying layers to transcend and become aware by listening to your body. The communal howl and space to be seen 1-to-1. The praying mantis or soothsayer and the King of Cups flow with the rhythm may come off as harsh, of Mother and King of Cups that need the diviner, the one who tells the truth. A group to flow for heart fire, to have space to grow and hang with others. Allow the howl to come forth, be present and get lost. And that was at 448, which is the Emperor and the 8 of Cups walking away and within. And then we were on the 2nd, which is when I dealt with my stone. And then we have another message of the day here. This is Nirvana, the Inner Child deck, and then the Rider deck here. Okay. This is on the 2nd. This was at 420, 21, and 24. And stone came up right there. It was in the picture of modern, that card. The direction of the stone in crack and water. To be still and review your responsibilities. It's okay to be misunderstood. Run wild. The Queen of Swords, 52, comes up again here. And then with the Rider cards. The underlying energy of resolution after transcendence and forgiveness. Or stone hopping. Squaring the circle, the stone and vessel. The intention. Perhaps sending love to yourself over and over, with the intention to heal, of involution and strength, with stone on the crown, with nourishment of water, and the body is like plants, that it needs water to bloom. The weightlessness of pain relief, the kindness to self, allowing the pain to grieve and know thyself. Blue Sha woman for harmony of stones, soften edges and use vibration to change the shape for resolution. Changing hats from stone to veil, to party to mourning, transcending the dirt and grime. The first card here is modern resolution, right in time, passing through with direction, cracking open with vibration and flood to carry the stone to its destination. And here we have this energy the day I'm getting rid of, after I just gotten rid of my stone. And it literally was a picture of the stone in the shape of this stone right here, which was my pinky nail that broke that day, which is why I have that stone. The underlying energy of being still after time to remember and letting a piece of your childhood go. As the 1444 came up right here. You know the way through the woods. Trust the intuition on this journey. Cultivating a space of stillness and silence to just be, a little light, and the light of the moon. The first card of 28 and the Two of Wands, that not all responsibilities are ours to hold. And the moon and perception is not always based on the truth. From desert to Swan Lake and waterfall, the lights in the distance. And then Costa Rica was coming up with that. The 29 of the Three of Wands, being present to letting your inner child run forth. And 13 of finding your haven, seeing the woods through the trees. And in transition, 25. To listen to the inner child, they have something to say. With the 28 and 29, the Two of Wands and Three of Wands, are man and woman with power and heart, and the choice of path, of she present in the moment of romance and subconscious, and he allowing the water to fall, so she can run wild. From 13 to 25, learning to listen to your inner child, the 16 of going inward, perhaps suddenly, and suddenly the time to connect with your inner child, or spreading your wings from within. The next underlying energy of the Queen of Swords upright and speaking her truth or her story, as the Page of Pentacles reversed is in need of help, with the Ace of Swords reversed, pain relief, to bring good news to me, who is drained, childlike, with foolish behavior, or burned in fall, or tired of embarrassing oneself, with Leo and Aries both reversed, and the King of Swords upright rushing in with delivery or awake to the Ten of Pentacles, family, business, or community of abundance, and the Empress upright, both of them upright, not sleeping or rose above the dark night. The Grim Reaper with choice to be still or call for help, as Taurus and Scorpio upright, of life and death, of chaos and order, choosing negative self-talk, or best case scenario, dealing with hospital or facing the music, tempted to come together with the King of Pentacles. The King of Pentacles may be dumping a load to end their pain or in a painful ending, or getting a massage, being strong, taming the beast, feeling your way, as the Hermit is upright, shedding light, to make a pet or a child, or Leo or Virgo feel better perhaps, as Knight of Cups is upright and Page of Cups is upright and happy, but the Wounded Warrior may be on guard here. The Wounded Warrior starting over on a quest to be or spar with the King of Wands. And the helicopter came in right at that moment at 5:18, which is the Hierophant and the Moon. The King of Wands upright is not sharing with the Six of Cups reversed, perhaps deception and twist of fate with the King of Swords upright, or up all night with them. With Cancer and Libra both reversed, the King of Swords laying their cards on the table with the Queen of Wands reversed, clearly inspired, or about the Page of Wands who's looking back at the need to use their intuition, or about secrets told in an effort to play hardball, or withholding until the Ace of Wands upright proposal is offered from lover or Gemini, from the Ten of Cups upright family, working on a release or work release program, with the Queen of Cups and King of Cups both reversed here, holding back an announcement and or decision from the Emperor upright, who may be busy being a star or healer, performing for love, from one who got away, or to recover hurt emotions of the Knight of Wands upright rushing in to save the day, but actually running from the Queen of Pentacles at home or union, as the Seven of Pentacles reversed is investing in patience, or Angel or Sagittarius upright in need of peace with justice, which also could be a judge or Libra, and dissatisfied being stuck between the Knight of Pentacles reversed and the Nine of Pentacles reversed, which could be two dependents, or Libra upright and Pisces reversed, defended by the Queen of Swords, or no longer alone with dependents as the Queen of Hearts, or Alice in Wonderland, which is the Queen of Swords, right off with their heads. There may be issues at work here with the next first card, or unable to work, or with co-creating after sudden event or drama, dumping emotional attachments or disillusionments about the Two of Cups partnership, or weathering the storm and standing up to end the war, or the inner pain or infection, and separation or heartbreak of two left out in the cold and yet making magic. Being wise, hanging out to see a new view, unable to sleep, in need of help. With Scorpio reversed, Gemini or Virgo upright, Pisces or Capricorn upright, or preferring to stay home as opposed to going to see the doctor when not feeling well. A night in the cold. Okay. Yeah, so headache was actually it was the word I broke down on the 3rd of June. And I found a feather that day. That's when my dad's picture fell off the mantle. And Adachi is coming up here too, and that's another ward of Japan. Also was bringing up to laugh before meals, to raise your vibration. Yeah. It was interesting. I put the word Christmas in that Sumerian translator, and it came out, Enlil's gift dash tide, the boundless rejoicing of the heavens, a festival of the divine shepherd. And Anuna, the festivity of the sun's return, a time of rejoicing in the warmth of the heavens, gift-bearing stars alight, rekindling the hearth of the world. And the word Christ by itself came up as Anu Se Tum, and Anki Ah, the shepherd of the heavens, and Anki Na, the shining one, the hallowed. And Anki, A-N-K-I, in Sumerian is universe, both heaven and earth. On the 3rd, triple ones came up with double sixes, nines, and tens. And say twin flame mass, the high vibe destined union, the student seekers of ourselves with imprisoning thoughts. And the moral man sourcing left, which is the feminine, looking for a message. The 7th note came up that day as well. And Tuesday, 10 and 3, the 1. That's when satellite F came up too. The arrow, the rib, to live, be alive, dwell. And the word Sagi, S-A-G-I, one of the definitions for that is momentary recollection, to know or use magic. Let's see here. All right, now we're on the 4th. It's 1-4. Oh wow, it was just 1-4-4-4-4. Now, this is a message of the day. Let's see, medicine, that's inner child. Yep. All right, so here's the next message of the day. The underlying energy on the left and the cards pulled on the right. All right, we have the Lenormand and Kipper decks combined in this last deck. This is inner child, this is nirvana, and that's the medicine deck. Okay, so they were pulled on the 4th at 9:29, 29, 30, and 34. The emotions card I wrote looks like a cat comb and hair, because I've been combing the cats a lot. 1111 was coming up, which in gematria, the first entry is twin flames, and omega, infinite omega. 0112 and 0114 were coming up. Number 112, the first entry is Libra. The number 114, the first entry is hate. And I've highlighted fate in the 112 as well. And Mana's in 112 as well. You can look them up in gematria if you'd like, 112 and 114. I am an under 114 also came up. I am an angel. I think that was number 24 and 32. Lifeline. 39 was pod. Some interesting ones there. Mana was in there too. I think that was under 112. And geese were under that 112 as well as magpie and hood and feral. The number 224 also came up, which the first entry is Corona. Luca, number 26 was risen. The world of emotions as I comb out their hair. Pisces are divine feminine, gets their claws in fur. Dancing with two ladybirds in the falls by the creek. Thus fur is the waterfalls, releasing of emotions. The 24 of the Queen of Wands and Omega, the cedar races, and the 20 of the House of Judgment or gated tower after the 7 of the Queen of Wands, snake in the Garden of Eden, which Eden is Ed-En, which is literally translates as ascended master. Pisces, Cancer, and Queen of Wands, which is a very etheric Queen of Wands in this deck here. The 25 is the Knight of Wands, Sagittarius energy, and 2025 of the ring and commitment to new passion. The Queen of Wands and Knight of Wands, the 22 of Aries and a leap of faith, the 5D station, of official person, with 34 of Wands, judication of home, for the King of Cups, or Father Time, on the magic journey over the rainbow of self-discovery, with Gemini, Virgo, Libra here, and at 10:20 cracking the whip of justice with rod and staff, the Page of Pentacles and Page of Wands, which is 26, and with great fortune there, and the 27 of a risky letter or document. New passion for the 7 of Swords, or passionate letter from the 33 7 of Wands, concerned mature man, with the 40 Page of Cups trying to navigate the funhouse and the labyrinth of 43 and 3 of Cups, or father standing up to their children, to the Page of Pentacles and Page of Wands, as the Page of Cups or Pisces or Scorpio make their way to the Sun. The Ace of Pentacles, new life, the 31 of exposed group conflict at the 19 Sun institution of learning to find peace, or peace in the Sun, as 12 is the 2 wise birds or owls hanging out in the tree, and the 7 of Pentacles reaping rewards of busy work, and the 34 of 8 of Wands back and forth, Leo, Pisces in energetic exchange with Scorpio, and the wealthy man in transition with the mothership 10 of Swords bliss, the 14 of the Temperance 9 of Wands fox, or Sagittarius wounded warrior, who's leaving the hen house, or abandoning ship on Plymouth Rock, or stuck on the mountain without water or emotion, or 314 soaring home to 6 mature woman or mother, 614 and 620, with Scorpio, Taurus, Saggy, Gemini, and Aquarius in a wake-up call to the Garden of Eden, or floral enclosure, or histamine release. Mother's lovely little angel at the summer solstice. 25 Knight of Wands, the high honor of graduation under choosing one house over another. Mother's garden landscape or very structured house, and or with a gate, or home and garden. or Charlotte makes the cover. The Chariot, Knight of Wands, Queen of Swords to home of the King of Cups, Magician, Justice, and the Page of Wands, Ace of Wands, inspired by Bridge, to the Page of Cups, Innocent, and the Three of Cups, and group in the Sun of Titanic proportion, and 1, 2, 3, 4 shut the door, 413 to 314 to June 20th, 2025 was coming up right there. After the underlying energy of the 21 owl, after the 43 of the Three of Cups and the Spider, and the 25 of the Knight of Wands fox, the 23 of the King of Wands opossum, and the 5 of the Hierophant bear. The 43 Knight of Wands and King of Wands, master of the hidden house, the spider's lair as teddy bear, sees the freedom of the fox and the owls and the birds and the eagles and those who come and go, but also the safety of the home, protecting him from the wild animals. Sagittarius, Taurus, and Pisces here, whole and complete, silent in the night, and big eyes. As the first card here is the 22 of the beaver, the hard worker who gives a damn, with their head resting on the ledge, the branch, or the pot. Perhaps teddy bear and a leap of faith with an open heart. At 10:53 is the wheel and the Knight of Swords in the underlying energy of emotions, after reciprocity of the mask, awareness, and breath. The woman behind the man with the mask and removing his mask to be more aware of change where she someone doesn't want something to get out, to be more aware of change where she can then relax and take a breath. Emotions released with comb of light, getting brushed, or neon jellyfish that comes to light. The importance of water and energy lines, washing hair, feeling whole and energized. The first next card is nirvana and connection, perception, and checking sticky fingers. A tear from a stone, the right eye of a stone or bust that grows with a flower from a shell, the blissful connection based on perception, a statue that cries, or hands that feel, detached from the body, or hands tied, trapped inside, only with tears to grow. Equanimity and finding your center, showing of power, might, and gratitude, lending a hand when it's too much to handle on their own. As the Queen of Cups came up here in the underlying energy of the 38, that you're enough, that you don't have to give more than you already are. After the 41, that you can do hard things. And the 23 of the King of Wands, to let it go. The 40 of the Page of Cups, that you are worthy. And the 5 of the Hierophant, and being true to who you are. The 24 of the Queen of Wands, and let love guide you. Sailing in the dragonflies, sailing in the clouds, as the Ace of Cups, the Holy Grail, and the King of Wands, letting go of all that no longer serves you. The Page of Cups, the innocent one, that you are worth it all, my love. As she walks out of the forest with butterflies all aglow, as the Queen of Cups becomes the King of Wands, and then the Page of Cups, the unicorn, that fear will not stop you from shining. The unicorn with wings in the clouds doesn't need a ship, as you are free as the Queen of Wands. So let love guide you. Choose to see the good in the world today, from the darkest night and 20 black birds to magic light of day and 2 turtle doves, rainbow, waterfall, and auras. The next first card at 11:22, which is justice and alignment, and the 22 of the Fool and the leap of faith and the 5D station. The 27 of the Ace of Wands, to pull yourself close, right, in some kind of new passionate embrace. Every part of you is deserving of love. The 18 of the Moon here, it's okay to be misunderstood, as perception is not always based on truth, and it leads the swan to the falls. The Queen of Wands has a new passion for romance. The 29, Three of Wands, Pegasus running wild. Release your inner child to run forth, as the 9 of the Hermit is connecting to their eternity within. Let yourself be held by love. Wild child's imaginings. Remember when you were a child, a swan, a horse with wings, free to be everything, including nothing at all. At 11:27, the underlying energy is a wake-up call, announcement to or from the house or house of the rising sun. As the next first card is the 13 of the Page of Swords, Scorpio boy, or Aquarius transitioning from home or school, with the Queen of Pentacles and choice of path, the 22 Fool's journey or leap of faith, and the 5D station, with the 12 of the Hanging Man, wise and still, privileged lady or dressed to kill, or Scorpio or Aries, and Pisces or Capricorn children of the Queen of Pentacles, or just Page of Swords and Queen of Pentacles with a message and choice of path, and or ascending divided staircase or titanic dream of luxury ships or titans and inner children. The 38 of the Queen of Cups, 17 star, toiling in labor to receive a dream gift or gift from the stars, or 2 little stars are your gift. The 44 of the Four of Cups and grounding and integrating, to look at the details close up of the 24 Queen of Wands and what are your seeds made of. The 12 of hanging out with the group of divine birds, and the 7 of Pentacles reaping rewards and assessing your worth. Her harvest in the wisdom of her soul group, or of 12. At 11:38, which again is that Queen of Cups with the Justice energy, which is Libra also, from the 21 wholeness to the 22 station of blissful work in building a dam, or Adam, a new passion to just enjoy the view, and transitioning message or child, teddy bear connection and perception, not always the truth, but having a choice of final judgment and death, or open heart and leap of faith, just to hang out and be wise, new ways of seeing things through cuddly things, steaming things, tears and deception, romance and reception of wise privileged lady, or enjoying the home. Entered between wild child and hermit within, the Queen of Cups with the dream come true, the gift of the moment and magnifying the little things, healing, healer, being the star, gifting little stars, allowing yourself time and grounding and integrating your experiences, and sharing with a wise group of divine friends who understand where you are coming from. And the number 381 came up there. And there also the energy of going past 81, which is in the numerology book, the Divine Triangle, it's based on the 3 squares off the triangle. And the last age on that triangle is age 81, so like a completion of the cycle. And here that age 81 was coming up 81 to 99, right? So like I'm getting the new normal is what I'm hearing. 381, the first entry there is I'm the real God code. And then chosen ones. Okay, let's see what else we have here. And the island, Japan, keeps coming up over and over again in connection with Hawaii as well. And still New Amsterdam Isle also comes up. And under one sky. Twin bridges from A to Z. And also the 3 balls in the middle of the Newton's cradle also can represent, right, the 1,000 suns of illumination. From A to Alpha is the root chakra to the crown chakra, which also represents 1, 4, and 7, right? Because 1, and that came up yesterday. The 1 is the root chakra, the 4 is the heart chakra, and then the 7 is the crown chakra. And then it was coming up as 1, 4, 7 yesterday, 2, 8, which is 28, the twin flames, but also is referencing after getting to the crown, going back to the sacral chakra to get to the high heart. Okay, let's see where we are here. Okay. On 6, 6, 7, 8, 9, just in time came up. That was 6, 6. Angels, King of Cups, and Twins came up. And also Friday. Jag at the inn by the river, number 4. That could be a time of 4 as well, Friday at 4. Was on the 6th. And by the way, July 4th is on Friday. But the Jaguar was coming up a lot too. And then the cube. It was breaking down the cube with the hexagon. And the nut bolt came up from that, and the baseball diamond. And the energy of the flower of life, which is the cube, right? Just different perspectives of the same thing. And then again, the circle with the gate holders, which is coming up like what I just showed you with the omega, right? The 2 gate holders, and the omega would be the bridge from gate to gate. But then the circle is also the tunnel from gate to gate. On the under half. The 3 come together each point. The X bridges dimension, which we went over that. I did all of that. Good, good, good. Up there. Yeah, Henry VIII IM, that was on the 9th of June. Came up in the twin flame reading. That read was at 7:02 to 7:14 on the 9th. The show of power of the moral man, wise and still, after dark. Extrasensory perception, seeking the King of Swords, master of thoughts. And then we had the thinking man come up today, right? The infinite 7th to 8th Euro India gateway. The moral man, hanging man, both knight and page, and master of orbs or swords. To lean on or be supported by, and then lean on me came up in the message this morning as well. Infinite ownership of key, gamma knight, or the void, the wise man, good at seeking and mastering of thoughts. And the 8th night was coming up there too. And I told you Red Dawn and Red Owl already. Those are 2 of the reds that came up. Okay, let's see this one here. On the 11th, freedom came up. And what Tara Arnold always says, turning dark to light, fear to love. Never-ending descendants catch you when you fall. That day, all the numbers kept coming. That on the 11th, the numbers 1111 came up, then 1144, 1155, and then 1221. Let's see here. On the 12th, the child came up. And Sirius Red, that was on the 12th. And again, you can read those messages on Instagram or TikTok. Thursday on the 12th was coming up as the RS was blurred together and it became THU capital B Day. And in Urdu, it came up as Love Day, Thursday. And RS is also to awaken. It was coming up as in transition, awakening from the dead to laugh. Thursday, infinite you, awaken the light of day. Day is Da and the sun, but who do you think wakes them up? The dawn. So again, the dawn came up again. And Noah's Ark and Noah's Ark. And that was a beautiful message. And this mother's message, was that from them? I'm not sure what the date was, but it's on my YouTube shorts. And it was so beautiful. And that's the one where Naha comes up as Noah, feminine, and it was An's love letter, which I talked about, and then I did another main YouTube to explain the meaning of it because it was a very beautiful and romantic energy. Okay. So I did this meditation. I don't know if I gave it to you or not in another short message or something. But I saw, it was on the 14th here, and I saw a Native American woman with straight hair down around her face, long around her face, with a happiness about her in the garden. And then the tiger stalking in the tall grass, of opposites images and merging to become. So this is a cool message here. All right, so I literally, after I saw the merging to become, I see leaves like this, right? So you have the stem and the leaves, okay? That's how this starts out. And they were coming up like, the leaves that spiral down off the trees when they're dead. That's what they were coming up like. Spirits in the night. These leaves, as spirals fall down left front, were encapsulated back to seed. 2 to 1, the airplane pods, and I'd just been sweeping them too, as they spin, taking others with them. And then mitosis was coming up with meiosis and reflecting those words, which I believe I posted those. Let's see here. But there is a message with that. So stay tuned with that. With the leaves, don't forget that because that's key to the end of this message. 2025. So mitosis backwards is CISO Tim, which was coming up as sister sense, thymus and time, hookah water, and to be sister mountain, field, or forest, to be suitable for rum or alcohol. And 468 IM was also coming up there. Oregon sister, to exist or be suitable for, located in the belt or girdle of the mountain, the high house in the grass, or to bribe father with pig and fire, I am. The number 648 came up, so I looked it up in Gematria. The first entry was he needing to admit he lied. And you can look up the rest of the entries for 648 if you want to. CISO Tim also came up as to be over time, I am. The reflection of mitosis of my 2 C's, or mighty C's. The sister sense wisdom tooth, that the tooth is packed with DNA information, and the heart of water, tree, team, and to dig, unearth, weave, build in time, to steam and peel, understanding, suppressed anger and pain to come up, Time in a fog to unravel, to peel back the layers, to let the air out, to be suitable, to exist in sister's heart language. So again, there's this more clearing going on. To be in that proper vibration. To practice sister sense understanding, to be charged with possession of companion estate, clumsy or cumbersome, without soul, spirit, and ghost. So you can see my post with these backwards of mitosis and meiosis, because this also comes up from my first guide. They showed me their name by showing me my toes. So my toes was my first guide, and I was doing them all backwards. So to stand still, rest unused, or to have an erection, practicing, training to be pure, clean, tidy, proper, and wholesome. And it was coming up wholesome, I am, with an E. Like the masculine is I am, and she's I am. Henry VIII, I am, again, duality and polarized. And wholesome was coming up as the whole, and the sum is the chosen few. So me, or the gift of civilization, I am. And again, my toes in tosis. To wash as tollgate, milling fee or story. To hear and finish today's harvest. To cleanse grandchild, woman, or small island, a lifetime as circle of sequins, which comes up, but so that was something popular on clothes in the 1600s. The god skygate, or the O, the story to hear, the tale to end, the wash, to wash and harvest and start again. A roundabout was coming up there. Co-creating a Y in the road, the 0 point tree, or human embodiment of source, one equal congruent to Sophia, or sine wave, back and forth. And fours, plural is like force. And again, that energy of at the intersection being that 0 point field of the 4. And when you put 4s back to back, it becomes the arrow. And this is the energy that was coming up right here. The ability to merge two hearts while ascending upward. And then my 2 8s, right, going bending and or folding and arching and going through and through, folding, flying inside out, through and through, interwoven like knots. And it was coming, and literally, and I didn't do this because I saw it in the beginning, this was coming up as the translation of this becomes this, of this is the flyer and this is the grounder, explaining my my symbol right here. Okay, one grounding and one flying through and through. And I just, as soon as I wrote the symbol, I didn't do that because it was leaves. I was doing it because it was translate. That's what I was being shown. And I was like, oh, wow, because that's what I started with. Coming up through the ground, anchored while flying towards the sun, and therefore grounding gamma rays. GR8. And one of the posts I did was the C's right there as well. So you can check that out. Root canal, root canals, root cause. Let's see here. I was going back to where it said anchored coming up through the ground, which was very significant because the energy is very into the earthly realms and the dragon line's energy. Let's see here, what do we have here? On the 15th, growth spurt came up. And triple 10s, double 9s, and 5s. And again, the uh, the Ark of the Covenant came up again, which always comes up for me as the trident with the apple, which is the torus or the toroidal field, together becomes the arc with the two fours reflecting each other, and then the arrow in the middle, which I just showed you, is the two fours back to back coming together. May the force be with you. Okay, and then we have, it's 215, it was 38, which is the Queen of Cups, and then 215, which is the Philadelphia area code. We have Journey of Love, Fortune's Oracle. Let's see if I can find this one. Journey of Love, Fortune's Oracle. Yes, the Good Tarot and the Inner Child. Okay, so this is the next message of the day. Same setup, underlying energies to the left, 3 cards out, and then extra cards beyond that. This was on the 16th. And these were pulled at 2, 34, 36, 38, and 39 on the 16th. And the underlying energy of the numbers at the end came up as 11, 11, and then 33, 34, which 11, 11, like I said, is twin flames, but it also can represent infinity because it's 2 circles, right? Each line can be an arced towards each other. And again, the trident was coming up again. The underlying energy at 255, which is the High Priestess and the Ace of Swords. The 46 of the 6 of Cups, childlike joy. 21 of World and Moon, escorted by the stars. The 52 of the Queen of Swords, White Owl. And the 4 as the moon gets closer. The mother and daughter camping out at the clouds on Great Mountain. Northern Lights, Pisces, Cancer, and Wise Old Bird. Be still my heart for heaven on earth. Daughter Moon, wise advisor to Mother Earth. As the 6 of Cups brings light from the stars to Mother's shoulder, a quiet place to just be. And it also, like 3 junctures were coming up before the station. 3 junctures before the station. Remember, the Y was coming up as the juncture as opposed to the X being the stationing. Decode, the number 215 came up here, which in Gematria was decode December written 12 times. And deck is actually 10, so 10 times 12 is 120. So that could be a number too you want to look up. But Neron, Lord God, Boar, Andromeda came up, Attack, Romeo, Buck, Golden Dome, and Yellow Eyes, Sister Act, the yellow in your eyes. The Snowy Owl, native to Arctic, is sometimes wanders south in the winter, but they're active both day and night, the Snowy Owl. So that was coming up as significant that day. That was on June 16th. The top stories about the Snowy Owl that guards the frosted fields of giant frosted wheat. They rid crops of pesky rodents and droppings. And in Cleveland, Ohio, the 33rd parade of the Circle of the Cleveland Museum of Art, the theme was the magical allure, a vibrant celebration of the Snowy Owl. Coming from a dream from lead artist Hector Castellanos, Lara. I had a dream in December, driving on the shoreway and saw Edgewater Park and saw the snowy owls. He saw many white heads close to the rocks, a community, and right next to them a big one, a giant owl, and his right wing extended, protecting the other owls. Good luck, good health and prosperity. It's like a royal presence. So you can check out more about the white owl if you'd like to. The underlying energy at 313 is just for a moment joy. After the 15 of the mother praise, the 17 of her grace. The shadow stars after Shakti 19 and 22 loving all that is. The 56 of Dance of the Planets and 38 the pearl threaded. The feminine sun, perhaps Leo, and the fool's open arms, perhaps Aries there, stationed in peace of mind, hand in hand, in the vortex where the Queen of Cups pearl is threaded, detoxing with Mother, praying for her dreams to come true. For just a moment, joy of being free with their arms open wide. The first card here is the 14 of falling light as a feather, floating back and forth patiently in angelic presence. The 68 of the Page of Pentacles dropping into their heart, and the 18 of the romantic moon of distant shores. And June 8, 18, and 27 were coming up there. Under the bridge in rough waters, a sonar pulse is sent like Morse code for flames, an ethereal touch in heaven's projection, in the theater looking back to see the projector illuminate all the twos as stars of the show, just waiting for you to receive the light. From the Six of Cups to the Queen of Swords, to stand and arch with your wings up and out, as the ancient ones are here to honor you, so you know that you are seen and worthy of the spotlight. Starseed angels, Page of Pentacles, invite to moon romance and flame's new passion, to perform the Two of Pentacles, two as one, I'm in heaven. The moon is the searchlight looking for you, and it has zeroed in as those who have been watching you grow up. Thank you for holding the light and allowing you to see them in the moonlight. A time of pure joy with your little ones before. The Page of Pentacles and Queen of Swords seek romance on distant shores, learning to balance your new life and liberties of light and angelic realms as wise ones surround you. The underlying energy of the moon after the star and cracker, the plane and proposal, celebrations and snake, a gift from the stars, your sparkling chariot awaits. As the Page of Wands 26 takes off for Fantasy Island, a proposal 27 of new passion, linked in, the gift of light in the box, and celebrations, freedom, commitment. The 28 of the snake that will guide you to a better path, or year of the snake at 28, or twin flame. Now the key of Newton's cradle and Queen's gambit, the crackers on plane, and the master of the hidden house, the white elephant, a snake in the box as the kundalini crowns and blows your mind into another world. The key cracking the plane, or plan proposal, prop, celebration of Sophia, Nike, easy on the snacks, as stars are watching and bringing moon into close view, or serious guided romance, or serious mother and romantic daughter. As the next first card is the 13 of Goals, and 29 to 21 to 13 came up, and they were each 8 apart. 29 to 21, 13, that's what stood out to me. Complete and transitioning to 16, the lion's sudden roar, and the focus from Pisces to Scorpio, the 18 lovers, Scorpio, Leo, and Cancer, Gemini. The death, the tower, and the moon, the golden gate, or lion's tower, the big change of silver and gold as Leo's gate comes with Gemini to Cancer this year. And 618 specifically came up in the numbers right after that. And Pi came up too, 314. The 33 of 2 unicorns at the gates, as the book of love brings patience in judgment, with sun and luck on your side. The lover's story begins as vapor, otherwise known as Eden in alchemy, is released. No pressure in the sun, with good luck and magic realms. The underlying energy of the Queen of Air after the 6 of Earth, 9 of Air in the Tower, as the 74 pure dear one with adornments on their branches, and Hierophant behind them, sharing with 9 of Air and taking them under their wings, at the Tower of the Queen of Swords, or Lady Liberty, teaching what she knows about sudden epiphanies. The next first card of the Queen of Fire and Ace of Air, as the Queen of Wands receives the truth from magical Pegasus in the clouds, while the 8 of Air angel brushes off extra feathers into the air. The Page of Earth with tribal fairy elf, with club and coin, that receives the 7 of Fire unicorn with fiery fireflies all around them. I just posted fireflies, I think it was the day before yesterday. from the mountain tops, off the ground and rocks, from messenger of earth or knight of pentacles who sends magic unicorn to the page of pentacles, a curious student. Pegasus to queen of wands and unicorn to page of pentacles, while dusting off feathers for others to find, bringing some up in the air and others down to the earth. It's all about the balancing act and believing in magic. The underlying energy of 4, to be still, after the 9 of connecting to the eternity within, 21, let go of the past, 35, there is hope ahead, 37, write a letter, and the hermit, allow yourself to be held by love, as the 21 is the world, whole and complete, and let go of the past. Time for a new story with the 35, where there's hope ahead, in surrender of wounds with the 37 for the King of Cups, unconditional love. Talk to your inner child to be still and become the emperor of your story. And 353 came up right there. The hermit is whole back and forward with unconditional love for inner child and being still and just being. As the next first card is the 23 of letting it go, the King of Wands, and the 34 of spending time in nature back and forth, perhaps hiking, and the 24, let love guide you. So you're the King and Queen of Wands here in an exchange back and forth. From the woods to the mountain and waterfalls between, two birds exchange, the Emperor's simple place in the clouds, the mountaintop, while the King of Wands and Queen of Wands go back and forth. And that could be on a mountain pass as well. The 26th of the Page of Wands is practicing freedom and releasing judgment, as the 41 Ace of Cups, that you can do hard things when you put your heart into it. Fly up and sail across. The 39 Knight of Cups, you are wanted. There's a home waiting within. The 16 of the Tower, to go inward suddenly and connect with your inner child. As the Emperor, with the King of Wands in exchange with the Queen of Wands and the Page of Wands, with love from the Knight of Cups and over, or excuse me, the Knight of Cups and Tower. And that could be Scorpio, but it also could be the deliverer of love and epiphanies. The falling angel and dark night, the Queen of Wands and King of Wands, the Saggy and Scorpio, feathers and gold, flame and tree, as the Page of Pentacles longs for truth in arrows of love, in romance and lovers, and release of thoughts and freedom of creative action. The new passion to stand up and stand your ground, the Page of Pentacles and Page of Wands, enact a story with magical peak, and sailing on clouds with big love as the Queen of Swords receives light from the sun to lucky heart, or Knight of Pentacles and Knight of Cups in towering inferno, as the Queen of Swords gives heart with light, the light heart, to the Knight of Pentacles and Knight of Cups suddenly. Okay. Leaps and steps. And in some more of my remote writing, mesa to mesa was coming up. And so instead of mountain to mountain, they were coming up as mesas, as plateaued mountains. But definitely this energetic exchange of the bridge between, of leaps versus steps, and two beings, venerable. Infinite light years and scrambled. And then on the 18th, I listed the whole alphabet and I inverted the letter. It's inverted and reversed, so it's completely reflected to see all the symbols that came up. So this, oh, and here again, red, NES, I told you that means red, so that came up. And then it was Wednesday, and Wednesday was coming up. So these are the whole alphabet, okay? Reflected on themselves. I did the 10 numbers too, okay? And this was coming up as Wednesday in symbols from this. And so what came from this was the only 4 letters in the alphabet that are reflected upon themselves that are still the same letter once they're reflected upon are H, O, X, and I. And H, O, X, I is the only real word that comes out of all of the combinations of X, I, O, and X. And H, O, X, I means today. And XO, besides kisses and hugs, also means dream. To hit, beat, strike, and word. So Locke came up with that. 2 used dance with egg in the box, and then diamond used up as they become, as the 4 ones and the 3 X's become the 4 O's with egg in box and 2 X's connected to the stars. And the symbols were coming up. This is all having to do with the word Wednesday. It came up as 4, 1 plus 3x equals 40, and then XX or 2x with the asterisk because the gnat showed up, which is unforgettable. 41 plus 3x equals 40 plus 2x. So the formula literally came out as meaning x equals 1 plus the next. So that was a really cool definition. The Holy Grail coming up as innocent, 2 as 1, and a beautiful mind. So again, the dragonfly was coming up there. So it's coming up, the 41 equals the 40 in the dragonfly at the Y's in the road. With the pressure on to fly, like an X that's smushed down because it's pressured to fly. The pressure, like the pressure on the diamond in the for the 2 houses to merge. X to X and Y to Y. The Ace of Cups being the Page of Cups dragonfly, the innocent one. That's number 40. So 41 is the Ace of Cups. So that's the formula, is literally X equals 1 plus the next, or 41 equals 40 dragonfly, or the asterisk of unforgettable. 2 as 1 in a beautiful mind. The Holy Grail is the innocent dragonfly. Remember, the dragonfly is also the cube and the hexagon. They all go back to each other. So today came up as 210Y and reflected as 210Y. And reflected again, literally, was year 015. So 2015 was coming up. And then the number 210, which first entry was track back. And under that is also the cube and circles and more. And dreams under that number 210 and solo. Top and room. She, he, O, and Y in the road, the juncture. And the asterisk being the X and the 4, and then the X and the Y. Remember I said the Y is the juncture, but the 4 is the stationing and bringing them together. Where the eagle, right? The eagle is the horizontal, flying into the phoenix rising, becoming the cross in the road. But the phoenix rising comes up as the dragonfly. Oh, so then the 19th, that's when I had my little shore trip with the kitten in the road. And then the power went out. I noticed too when I was at the beach, the beaches were tiny. Like I don't remember them ever being that tiny. I don't know if I said this already, that I was guided back to 2022-22 had come up. I don't know if I came up in my last video or not. But in what came up in the year 2022 was the movie The Twin. And the Man in the Moon movie came up too, both of those. Yeah, so I didn't have any power for those few days. I did a lot of Instagram postings. I just don't want to repeat that stuff because you can look online and look closely at those one at a time if you want. Something else I wanted to bring up too that was weird. On the 20th, right when I was going to bed and I had to blow out the last candle I had lit that was on my bedside table, and of course, you know, I don't want that the ember still burning because I'm going to bed. You know, it could relight itself again. So I blew out the candle, and there's no power left in my phone, and I wasn't able to recharge it with anything at that point. So I blew out the candle, but the big wick was still alive. And without my glasses on, looking at this candle wick, it looked like a little. It kind of freaked me out, but it looked like a little old lady witch talking to me. But I didn't feel like it was something bad. But it was just so weird because she was like literally holding a book and it kept opening up and closing because it was moving. And it looked so real. This little being was talking to me, and she was holding a book. The two parts kept moving around like she was alive. And then when I put my glasses on, it looked, just very plain, like ash. But I had to put water on that wick. I can't tell you how much water I had to put on that wick to get it to go out. And then the word June came under breakdown. I'm hearing that underground rumbling again. 25. So June is Anchor U two-way Christ-Ed bridge. And the temple that's one equal and congruent to U June is also UN inside Je, I. One inside I. And then the GJ came up again, right? Because the G is the little t leaping up, and then the J is the little t getting grounded back in. The little t leaps to God, then the little t anchors it in. The Christ to Ed, Lam to Da, or Lambda, the capital N twin bridges, the two-eyed needle are basically coming up as all the same thing. And GJN was coming up as that bridge back and forth. So you don't just want to leap up, you need to be able to ground the energy back in. The Jean Joy Nat was coming up as the unforgettable Jean Joy. The EN of Lord or JC inside God's energy, unforgettable energy. The Jean June N. The unforgettable Nat. And an NA in Sumerian is man. The tree of twin bridges and rocket to top dog at the tea or pot of gold. The God pot, or toi, which is you. And so God with in parentheses is actually toi. And gold with parentheses, right? The G and the D as parentheses is toll. So God is toi, but gold is a toll. Little time. This was an interesting message. If no time, just one place to be in. Source of the multiverse. Both one place. Little time is less than all that is, next to space. Little human time is less than all that is, or source, next to space, or Sophia's pace. Time is less than space, or source me is less than Sophia's pace. To source me is less than Sophia's pace. Source gifts of civilization is less than spa sea. The tree I am, temple wave, Father sea, or Sophia's posse. The Y is the little t to fly to all that is, away from space, as I. K equals 1 to fold into space, time to fold into space, arching or rising, and that's the child. So Y was coming up as I, and the K was coming up as the child, and that was at 10:10. And here Yoko is coming up again too, and Ko in Japanese is, translates as child. It's all about the child. The I, the Yo is the I, and the Ko is child. Yoko, I child. On the 21st, 369 was coming up, which adds up to 18. Of the 698 pod, notice that, and the 3 to 1 of soar, spin, and spot. All right, so 3 is the soaring eagle, 6 is the spin, and 9 is the spot, or spinning in the other direction. It's like stops coming, the spin coming to a stop, going the other direction. Time, 2 spaces. The eagle soars to the 698 pod, or the safety pin, with Sophia's oar, pin, and pot. 3 to 1, 698. 369 equals 18. It's the same thing. So the T is the tree that's seen. The roots are unseen or etheric, if not underground. When you see both ends, the means is the middle ground. When you dig the roots up, the tree comes down to the ground out of the rain. I just posted the rain yesterday because the rain on we had a huge storm from dinner time yesterday throughout the night. But at one point when the sun came out, glistening on the raindrops on the window right at dusk was beautiful, and they looked like diamonds. And I posted that, but it only came out clearly on Instagram. The other ones both dulled the picture, so it didn't even, it didn't give you the idea of what I was posting. The original video was beautiful, but Instagram was a good likeness. So again, the plus and the Y were coming up as the intersection and the juncture. And then we have the 1 and the O, which the 1 is the one inside the circle of pi, and the salt is the circle with that line, that etheric line across, as salt, that come together to the plus sign in the circle, or the tree, right? Because the tree reflects itself. So it's not just big on top, it's also big underground. New ideas form in the fruit and future descendants, the grounding and integrating of the dirt and the roots of the past. The plus being the point in time, and the Y being the direction. The 1 or pi being the time, and the O or salt being the space. The point, direction, time, and space of plus Y 1 0. The station to station. When gratitude and high vibe, right? So plus Y is basically thank you, and then 1 0 is high vibration. To be in gratitude and high vibration equals collapsing the ends to the middle. 2 to 1, which then actually is 3 to 1, because 2 to 1 is 2 and the 1, and then the action between them. The monkey in the middle, or mun key, the moon key. And then the word alone came up. 1, where alone is actually all 1. But 1 to 1 equals 2, which equals the station of 2U's space. And then alone reflected is aloninola. And the word neen means the eyes. And it's also the number 6 in I. And here red diamond came up again. Let's see. The earth with, so neen came up in the alone, and then that reflected backwards. But if you place the words the opposite way, What's in the middle is LAAL instead of NEEN. So the LAAL is the red diamond that came up. The earth with emotional group bonded to 2 carbons, doubly attached. The X and O is the physical expression of kisses and hugs. The plus and Y are the words of gratitude. Whereas the X's and O's are somatic, and the plus and the Y are grammatic. And then those together makes the dragonfly. It's the plus sign in the circle, but plus the X and Y. And the energy of the square and circle coming together in the diamond. Right after the pressure of the storm. I was just doodling too here, where I ended up doodling like the chakra system here. I don't know if that means anything to you, but I just thought I'd post it so you could see. On the 21st, we had double sevens and double nines. Let's see what else. On the 22nd, literally the phrase, the wall is closed, came up. The wall is closed. And I'd seen a cardinal before a lot, and then I saw the cardinal again that day. And I also caught one of the bush birds eating the cat's food, which I'm surprised they're daring to do that because, you know, the cats do grab them sometimes. Let's see here. And also on the 24th, the again, the 698 pod coming up as POD, paid on delivery, which is then the 9-6 of the loose bow instead of a knot, but also comes up as the pod to the POD to the capital BD, which was coming up as Boulevard de Port Royal, which actually my father was born in France at 88 Boulevard de Port Royal, so that was cool that that came up. And it was coming up as womb to bow, the gentle tie. And the number 1801 was coming up here as significant. And then the entry here that had 1081 hits, which was the exact reflection of the number that I was looking up, 1801, was number 42, and it said, "Sends her my twin." But you can read all of them. Like all of them had the same numbers, like 1176, 1176/196 were like almost all of the entries, which never happens. Yeah, the 96 was coming up as the energy of the fan turning, or that swastika turning, right? And then 96 also comes up as 5-5 with the truth. It also came up as SIS, which is suffering in silence, also from sea to shining sea was coming up there. And it comes up as Pisces, the symbol of Pisces. So the number 515 I looked up, and 96. 96 starts off with grace. It's grace, free, bacon, sea, machine, Arabic, and bond. And 515 was Babylon. And number 2 was the seal is broken. And 8 was the Anunnaki night. 16 was Secret Santa. 26 was Resurgence. 27 was Night Rise is a go. 30 was conflict on Earth. 31, tree of life, Orion. And 46 was stone of God. 38, 39 was also a big number that came up on the 24th on the years 1998, 99. Maybe you want to look back at those 2 years, see what was going on for you. And 2022. Actually, July 23rd, 2022 came up in one of the messages. And I looked up that year, and it was a big day for the WHO declaring monkeypox. There's monkey again. And that day, the producer of the monkeys, An Easy Rider, died at 89. And it was so weird because we have monkeypox and monkeys, the group. And that same morning, I was out front calling the cats, like, Lovely, I was called my little lion, but monkeys like a tiger. And also, this was the year of the tiger. So it was really cool because all these monkeys were coming up, and then the year of the tiger. And then Mama was the Sphinx, and PM was the puma. The number 179.6666 came up, which then ended up being a phone number of an association of builders and contractors, the ABC Eastern PA chapter there. Let's see. The word Niwa was big in one of my mother's message posts, N-I-W-A, if that means something to you. Again, you can look at all my messages. And again, bowed, right? Because bow can also be bow, but it's coming up as the loose knot. Instead of tying the knot, because Wednesday is wed day, right? Wed, Ness. Ness is also red. But here it was coming up as wed, bowed day. Tied the bow, or instead of tied the knot, tied the bow. Walking away and within. 6:15 was coming up, and 96. And then Wednesday as wed being two use divine temple, two use are creators, and then the heart, you know, with the arrow going through it that kids always draw, that was coming up as ed and s, D and ES, past and plural, or Edenness, with two-way bridge between divine Christed temple. One equal and congruent, where E is the temple and then pi is the circle with the line down the middle, fresh in the sky, and E then salt of the earth. So pi in the sky and salt of the earth that comes together as the Phillips head screwdriver, right? The circle with the plus in the middle. Together is the key, the Phillips head screwdriver, where Phillips head comes up as expanding lips under pressure. Phil lips, he add elephant's IP address, who never forgets. The pressure of phi, right? The circle that's smushed with the line down the middle. So it's the fresh pie, but it's been put under pressure. And then the lips, pressure on he after death to kiss. And then we have inches per second with IPS, the elephant's insertion point. And also that comes up as Israel. So if you look on the map, you'll see that Iraq is the elephant's head, and the elephant's trunk pours water into Israel. And the body is Iran. And the elephant was coming up big here. The elephant 20s and big gift of breath, LF120. Leaf left 2, 1 and 2 with source behind them. The leaf is the hanging man embodied by source. And numbers 120 and 2120 came up. 120 was Lisa as the number 1 in dream and circle again. And also MON came up under there, and TI and LT. And final call was number 21. And RN 22. Find God was 32, and 44 was KE times 8. And alien DNA. 2120 was how does he know? And then May 10th, 2022 came up. Upgrade ya. That's what it said. And number 43 was bow to sacred Lord, which is the bow, right? The loose knot. The pie in the sky, the salt of the earth, the Phillips or the elephant that's inches per second or 20. The LF 11420 or 211420, left to align 1 to 1 with source behind. The big gift of breath in horsepower, or ESPER second. ESP second. The horsepower of Mr. Ed, NS. To expand and then contract. And it was coming up as M Ed, as Mr. Ed, and NS. Right? The mountain and the bridge. As the masculine is the mountain and the feminine is the bridge between the I am and the IN. 20 inches per second, about a foot and a half or 3/4. Football third quarter, or the second half. That you must breathe source in, B4, ESP, grounds and breathe out. After all, your first breath is what gets you here in a body. Then you must cry and breathe out a lot to tell the earth to ground you. Now you're here and alive. With the G, K, and J, or the little t leaping up to source, and the little t then grounding with the J, and the K in between. To leap to source is not as important as 1 is less than 2 if you want to bring heaven to earth. What's the point of fly ball, the point of no return, without bringing it home? Don't be distracted by the clouds. Observe it, breathe it in. I wrote clowns with an N in there, but I think it's clouds. Don't be distracted by the clouds. Observe it, breathe it in. Anchor it to the earth. If stressed or in fear, you don't fill up your sacs or lungs. And at 12:21, like Titanic, not filling the lifeboats to capacity, there's no going back. So breathe the fresh air, but come down to earth. To breathe is the pepper. To fold is assault. Accelerate or to brake. You see now how to, number 2, is more important than 1. As I am port 120. The father leads you out, but the mother brings you back in to the on plus intersection, which is also coming up as 3 zeros, but the 0 in the middle is the salt with the line across. The father leads you out, excited in activity, but the mother brings you back in, the calm and the peace. Source in and source out, but salt of the earth holds it together. And then the hokey pokey was coming up, right? You put your right foot in, you put your left foot in, and then left foot in, and or out, in and out, and then you shake it all about. You do this and then you turn yourself around. That's what it's all about. You put your left foot in, you put your left foot out, right? And your right foot in and your right foot out. And then you shake it all about. You do this and then turn yourself around to see another perspective. That's what it's all about, right? The experience. And about is ABOUT, unreachable star, and destiny of tea from the earth, or dishing tea from the earth, right? Because the earth is tea. Time to hold space for heaven on earth at 12:37, which is the Hanging Man and the King of Cups. And the word twin actually comes up too as the intersection of W, 2 U's, in, but also fresh and salt, win. With the cross is fresh and salt, and then win. Fresh and salt, win. I am density, IN sensory. I am density. I'm the mountain, the vertebrae or spine, the tooth and bite, the dim layers and weight, erects and consumes. IN is the sensory bridge, the nerve that feels and communicates, meaning direction of circulation, weightlessness, calms, and loses weight. I love that one. Okay, so let's see what else we have here. 25, 625 is also coming up as 6, the spin, and 25 is the magic potion bottle. So spin the bottle is coming up right there with the snake year and the Knight of Wands, the Hermit and the Twins with Source, and the magic potion of this year. The snake winds up the Knight of Wands with a slow burn to embody the Hermit, the spin of the Knight of Wands, and the 0 of space of calmness of the Hermit. Right? The spin is the coil and the heat, whereas the Hermit is the space to release and cool. And then Hoxie came up again, which means today. It was interesting, right? Because Hoxie is 8 HOXI, which is 8669, and the reflection of that is 9668. And then that came up literally as my business name. So twin soul number is I, which is 9, and flame soul number is A and E, the vowels, which is 6, and then 3344 is 6 and 8. So it was coming up as the same as Hoxie, which is the reflection of Hoxie, which is Hoxie is today. So what's the reflection of today? That's my question for you. That's a good question. I don't feel like it's as simple as the reflection is tomorrow. What is the reflection of today? And actually today is today. And what's between 2 days is the night. And also today is towards the day, which is the dawn. The dawn, the night dawning. The night leaving to dawn the day. Yeah, let me know in the comments. What is the exact reflection of today? I had about Hoxie that day. All right, is this the right one? Solar Karma. Yeah. Okay, so finally we get to the read on the table. Yep, we're good. Okay, so we're going to get to the read on the table now here. I'll show you the picture of that too. All right, so here's the read on the table. And we're going to do this read and then we'll close out with some oracle cards, okay? This is the message. We have the Ascension, the SIRIAN Starseed deck is the main deck, and then the Rider clarifiers. And there's 4 extra cards over here, which were all major arcana. We have the Star, the Moon, Ascension, which is the World, and then the Star. This is Starseed, rather. Starseed, Moon, Ascension or World, and then the Star card came up after this last card. Okay, let's see. I was going to pull a card from the beginning, which I didn't. I didn't roll the die either. Let's see what the die have for you for the best and highest good of all those concerned. It's the energy for everybody watching here today. Okay, we have Libra. We have Mars. And we have the number 3, which is the Empress. It's also March, though, which is the Pisces to Aries energy, right? Which is the from one world to the next. And we have Mars, which is action. I think Mars is in Virgo right now, and then the Moon is going from today, I think, moves from Virgo to Libra. And also 3 is the Empress. That's also Venus, right? Because we have Libra Venus over here. Yeah, Libra Venus over here. And actually Pisces is facing us with the North Node Pisces and number 1. And then I'm getting that energy, right? That 1 is less than 2. And we have 1, 2, 3 facing me right here. 1 is less than 2, and that 3 to 1, or actually 2 to 1 is actually 3. Again, they're bringing that up. Balance of Libra. And Mars in Virgo, right? Mars likes fire. And Virgo is very earthy, very grounded. It may hold the fire back a little bit. And then the Empress. And could have Libra and Taurus there too. And Mars is typically Aries, but it's in Virgo right now. And then the North Node is in Pisces, so that's reflection because Virgo is South Node right now. And what is the message here? What is the message here? The best and highest good. Reciprocity. She doesn't look that happy about it. We have harmony underneath. And there's the harmony of balance, right? That's that subtle balancing act. And she's like, oh, well, okay. And she's covering herself. She's protecting herself a little bit there. We could read reciprocity. Let's see here. Okay. Reciprocity, the best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service to others. That's a quote from Mahatma Gandhi. When you switch from a paradigm of self-serving to that of helping others, success, value, and purpose will almost always follow in the direct response to the goodwill you offer to the world. When you enter into this ideal, you inspire the energy of reciprocity, which is a cycle of positive action and exchange of kindness, begetting even more kindness. Even something that may seem mundane, like inputting numbers into a spreadsheet day in and day out, when offered with the intention to serve, shifts into something meaningful and fulfilling. Even something as simple as helping someone with their groceries, opening a door, or offering assistance in what may feel like a small way can have a big impact on someone's life. And another quote from Martin Luther King Jr. said, "Not everyone can be famous, but everyone can be great, because greatness is determined by service." All right, let's get into the message here for the read. Okay, this was on the 27th, which was Friday, I believe. And it was done at 5:35 when I cut the deck, and I finished at 5:45 clarifying. And the Seven of Pentacles had, when I was shuffling, had fallen out between the Ace of Pentacles and the Knight of Swords. And this read was very focused on the twin flame union. And the energy from those 3 cards that fell out was coming up as using crystals and orbs to put the puzzle pieces together. For grounding. For groundbreaking, perhaps return of the message. So the major arcana here is the solar deity right here as the challenge, karma, which is the judgment card, and we have reason as the emperor right there, and alchemy comes up here too at the end here, which is like the temperance card. And after the read, the later cards, like I said, we have the Starseed, Luna, Ascension, and Star. There were 4 cups, 2 wands, 2 pentacles. So 422 is the 2 of cups, and the Fool, 22, or the High Priestess, and the Emperor can be there too. And prior to the read, the Queen of Swords came up with the 9 of Cups. After the read was the Knight of Pentacles, and in the read we have the Queen of Cups and the Knight of Cups, and they came in up together in more than one read here. Queen of Cups to the Knight of Cups, all right? So there's definitely a significance there. Oh, by the way, in this read, all 4 aces were upright, which is important, and the lovers and the 2 of cups were also upright in this read, which is a very positive sign. So we had triple fives and triple tens and double twos, which is the Fool. So a lot of change there and new beginnings and leaping from the 5D station. And the code line was coming up with the number 207. And I didn't look that up. Let's see if I can bring that up real quick. 207 in gematria comes up with the first entry is Charles. I did pull it up. Charles, this, shit, Heather, Midnight, Pineal Gland, Bless, American Eagle, Bridget, Mapping, Gorilla, which gorillas came up today. And the code line here was about expanding power of the now moment. 10 to 2, and again, I told you CB language came up here, which means receiving well. Of course, 1 digamma expanding sun agreed upon in after-death test of emotions emotions or with the Knight of Cups. And then also Fini was coming up, so finished, high vibe 2 of Christ consciousness, 1 of 2 gamma waves or quantum 2-eyed needle agreed upon by the Knight of Cups and or to be love. The Queen of Cups after the Queen of, in the underlying energy there's the Queen of Swords reversed, the Page of Pentacles reversed, the Nine of Cups reversed, the 10 of Swords upright, the 5 of Swords upright, and the Hermit prior to that with the 8 of Pentacles working on alignment, with the Queen of Swords reversed recovering from dissatisfaction with self or just with being alone, or after a long painful time of defending third party or position or inner war of sadness or no social life. With growth spurt or Hermit upright working to align with the Queen of Swords reversed to recover those unhappy with themselves or with being alone, having chronic pain, or in the war in their head. With the Queen of Cups upright with negative thoughts or mastering emotions, right? The choice. And the player who fell to death or fell short or got back up as the Dark Knight, King of Pentacles, with the Queen of Wands reversed, working it out. With Virgo upright and Scorpio upright there, perhaps the King of Pentacles is mediating the Knight of Wands reversed and the Queen of Wands reversed to work with the Queen of Pentacles. Maybe they're trying to make it okay with them to bring the Queen of Pentacles in. As the 10 of Cups is upright and a happy ending and taking a walk or a hike into that good night to go within and get over it. As the 4 of Pentacles is upright, holding on and keeping cards close, or perhaps saving after a peaceful ending or divorce. Emotional cycle has endured. The emotional cycle has ended with recovery time. And the recent past is the 2 of Pentacles upright, slowing down to surrender to all that is, present to both powerlessness and strength, with Leo upright and Libra reversed, or spending a lot on a gift in hopes that they really like it, or juggling a dependent and or a pet. The foundation is karma upright, which could be Aquarius and a bad influence, hurt by the injustice of the sweet Page of Cups having to start over and getting away with it, or karmic defending a cheating scenario and acting all innocent, or a wake-up call about defending the bad guys and innocent being affected or exposed and innocent to the elements. At 708, which is the Chariot and Strength card, perhaps Aquarius defending friends, lying, cheating, or stealing when the Page of Cups is around. With the Queen of Cups, I wouldn't think the Queen of Cups would be happy about that. She may be confused about this, or the Queen of Cups could be concerned here. The central energy is the Ace of Wands, challenged by the Sun reversed. The Queen of Pentacles upright, drained by the Page of Pentacles, giving things or money to the Emperor reversed. You know, it's like when you're not with someone anymore and you give money to your child and the child goes to the other parent and gives their stuff to them. That's what I was feeling here. And the Queen of Pentacles upright in need of a vacation, or she is with Leo reversed, or that's in her chart. And the Page of Pentacles has Aries in their chart, perhaps. Or when it's not sunny, the Page of Pentacles or Emperor reversed can be very unreasonable, or someone here got burned. The Two of Cups upright decided to release the truth without a choice. You know, that can be a partnership. To the Hierophant or establishment, or truth about Taurus or marriage, to reap rewards or assessing worth of ending it all. And now crowning is the Five of Cups reversed, recovering from loss or regret or disappointment, hurt feelings, impatient for the Ten of Pentacles, family, business, or community of great abundance, to let them back in. Clearly awake or rising above in a move, a visit, or destabilization, and hanging to balance it all in need of peace, or needing to get the boat in the water, recovering both emotionally and practically. With Aquarius upright and Leo reversed, and soon the Ten of Pentacles, family, business, or community of wealth or prosperity, or even legacy here. After a lot of pain or major surgery, assessing worth of offering the Ace of Pentacles to one who may take the high ground. Offered another way, should Taurus upright or establishment offer restitution to help protect Pisces or Capricorn, unable to work or function when being woken up or called, or loudspeaker in their ear? Or the Knight of Pentacles reversed, who's stubborn and judgmental, or flagged here, as the Queen of Cups is upright with a new passion or flame, being inspired to get over it and challenged by the energy of the Sun, and blocked by the King of Wands reversed and his energy back and forth, to start over, no longer be an island to themselves, as the twin flames see themselves as the Emperor reversed, which can be without reason or unreasonable, or just someone who's either abusing their power or out of their power. That could be someone retiring as well. After the King of Cups upright is tempted by a sudden event with the Six of Cups under the radar, unfair, with a dream come true. The Star with heaven in their eyes, perhaps the Emperor reversed, ready for retirement, as Aries is reversed, Capricorn and Scorpio and Aquarius upright as well. Perhaps you're feeling thankful for a father who's passed and the love that they've given you. Around the twins are how they're seen as the Ten of Wands reversed and the Nine of Wands upright. The wounded warrior offering the Ace of Wands upright to leave them behind, or the Hermit upright waiting at the top of the stairs with the light on, and the Page of Wands inspired by what they could do with this. The block here is the Four of Cups reversed, with the Knight of Pentacles reversed and the King of Wands reversed. Constant calling or going back and forth to the beach or family house perhaps, or the King of Wands reversed, ignoring them. The Knight of Cups reversed after the Queen of Cups upright, dumping all responsibilities at work on the Knight of Cups reversed, left defending their position, after getting hit by a car and offering love by the High Priestess reversed, on a quest. That could be someone like letting the secrets out too. And the Knight of Cups can be someone who's, jealous or feeling rejected, or just emotionally manipulative as well. They could just be having a bad day. But after getting hit by a car or offering love by the High Priestess reversed on a quest for divine lover, the Knight of Cups reversed, stressed out by being the Magician with the world complete, or the Knight of Cups reversed who may be jealous of the Magician and the world, or Gemini and Virgo and Pisces, or neighbor or divine feminine, with the Knight of Swords rushing them with the new moon, Page of Swords, message from the Empress upright who's dissatisfied with the Queen of Swords reversed and the King of Swords upright at 744, which is the Chariot and the Four of Cups. So grounding and integrating ascension as well. At 745 is the Knight of Cups reversed. Perhaps Pisces or Capricorn or Cancer here, rising above impatience or losing patience with no peace, and the Knight of Pentacles reversed partner or their lawyers working it out. With Sagittarius reversed earth and water here amidst a lot of air signs or communications. A lot of air sign or communications. And I want to say, you don't say. Knight of Cups reversed and the Knight of Pentacles reversed and the Knight of Swords upright, who's between, and the Page of Swords upright and the Queen of Swords reversed with the King of Swords upright, are here, right here at the end there. The Page is right here, the Empress. And she's dissatisfied with the Queen of Swords reversed and the King of Swords upright. But then coming together in partnership. Maybe she doesn't like them coming together in a partnership. Starseed reversed, Moon reversed, Ascension world upright with the Star upright, with Aries, Cancer reversed, and Pisces and Aquarius upright. The orb to the moon, to the earth, in the palm of your hand, to the healing energy that you use as the rock star with direct connect to the stars. A big download to the crown and knocked for a loop and up all night, ascending to the stars, walking like an Egyptian, acting as the conduit, using the Ankh to interview the stars, or beings from another star system. As the Queen of Pentacles is drained by the Sun reversed, and the Page of Pentacles drained by the Emperor reversed, or one's tired and one is retiring. From the Queen of Cups upright to the Knight of Cups reversed, she's surrendering to all, and the Knight of Cups is rising above. And like I said, the Lovers and Two of Cups are upright, all four Aces are upright, the Empress is upright, but the Emperor is reversed, who could be retiring. And the worst suit was probably the Wands again, having the hardest time. The others were mixed. Earth is good. The Queen of Cups karma with the Emperor reversed and the Ten of Wands reversed, juggling the flame and challenged by the Sun. The Ten of Pentacles no longer bored and getting over it emotionally and practically, especially the King of Wands and Knight of Cups, or impatient Ten of Pentacles family, business, or community to get more people back in. The Page of Wands must be Leo here. Perhaps the King of Wands reversed, wounded warrior, fire sign, Aries, Sagittarius, or another Leo reversed, or the fat cat. With Father and Son and our King of Wands and Queen of Wands and Knight of Wands all reversed, still grieving perhaps, or perhaps a father they never really grieved yet, perhaps a father that took all their burdens away, an older man retiring, and the wounded warrior holding on to their wounds and trying to pass one to Atlas who refused to take it. A fiery sun breaking the pattern and under the radar, wanting under the radar, wanting watery cups. An innocent connection here. One perhaps his or her father would never have approved of. The Page of Wands perhaps could be excited or inspired to get emotional as moody Knight of Cups, or to feel into his rejection or jealousy issues. And 10-8 came up here, as it did in the beginning with my message, 10-5 to 10-8. And 10-8 was that I just got connection, or I just tuned in now, so perhaps didn't get it. As it is 3/23/40, which is the Empress, the King of Wands, and the Page of Cups, which we were just talking about. I'm going to let that be. Alt, like on your computer, Alt and Halt were both coming up on the 28th. T for 2. So the King and the Queen, the K and the Q, the key and the Q at 7:20. The key and the Q, the K and the Q, T for 2, key for Q. The King and the Queen, the K and tiny T's leap, and the Q, the tiny U, energy exchange over the Christ to Ed bridge and back. The King is the K and G, and the Queen is the Q, energetic exchange in the N of the back and forth bridge. She bridges to the human, right? So the King is in God, the T leaping to God, and the Q or Queen is the energetic exchange between, the bridge. She bridges to the human. grounds that into reality. The 144 turns at the cross in the road to the temple divine number 9, which 144 equals 9. So that was interesting the way that came up. And sine alt was coming up here as the salt, the S of the sine wave, and then ALT of the tree. Sine alt tree. Sophia's rocket, lambda tree, which is the 8th, coming up as the 8th note here, and the lamb is the 6th note, and da as do re. The sine alt or alt sign, the salt symbol being the bridge above and the tunnel below, and then the salt line in the middle is the equator or equalizer. The H alt or halt, the stop sign. Okay, and the last thing I wanted to bring up here before I go, and we'll pull another oracle card from Journey of Love. On the 28th, the hand came up in this message. As remember I told you 147, the root chakra, the heart chakra, and the crown chakra, and then back to the sacral to the high heart, or 2-8, 147 and then 2-8, which is also the alpha and omega to the high heart. And I brought up on this page on June 5th, Yuku and Anu, steadfast heart and prime creator. The Hierophant and Judgment or Divorce Final, John and Yoko, and Short Circuited. This and 6-8 was the number 110, Hydrangea, Hitchcock, Ankh, Pinky, and To Live to Need, as in kneading bread, the cat massage. And the Man in the Moon and the Garden Flood, the 2022 and the Red Kangaroo. On 6/22, I talked about the harmonic convergence and Dirty Dancing, that the wall is closed, and this acronym came up, CKPNL, Christ Energy Housing Bridge of Lamb to Da, or Father, the leap to the 3 zeros, which is the 1,000 suns, or the pin of the Lamb to Da, lambda, but left at the right angle of the pin, which the pin is the housing, and then the point is what goes is the feminine side that goes out to the sun to collect the energy. The castle and the drawbridge, the house and the bridge, two-way bridge, the castle and the drawbridge that you can close on either side, only out or only in. And that was coming up like the cat doors, because looking at cat doors for the garage. You can lock them so they can only come in or only go out as well. So then the hand was coming up under my thumb, where the thumb obviously is under my thumb, number 1, but the pointer finger, the FU finger, and the ring finger are the 3 balls in the middle of the Newton's cradle, and then the pinky is the circle at the end. So it's still a circle ball, whereas under my thumb is 1, because these 3 circles in the middle and the pinky are all fingers, but the thumb is 1, even though the pinky is different than the 3 balls in the middle. It's separate, yet still the same finger. So under my thumb puts on the pressure. The point and FU and ring finger of the 3 balls in the middle of Newton's cradle is the resonance, right? Resonating through. And on the other end is the pinky, who comes out on the other side. And pinky swears to God. And remember, pink is red and white, and plus is the number 4, or the 5D stationing. Or white is 2U's height, at the height of the 2 of you. The open house are Ed, regarding the divine masculine's heart here. The pink of red plus white, and the pink E, the pink temple of red and white, of the root and the crown, the 1 to the 7, housing ink of the temple, 1 equal and congruent to the other. The housing is the pi of the pineal to crown with a K, of the triple zeros of illumination and the temple. Pinky swearing to link in there, 1 to 4 to 7, 2, 8 of the twins, the root, heart, and crown, and sacral and high heart, where fresh kneels to crown at the temple. Where fresh kneels to crown at the temple. Okay. All right, let's pull from Romance Angels and close this thing out. So I'm a little bit caught up at 3:30, 32, or excuse me, that was 22, which is the Empress, the Four of Wands, and the Fool. All right, let's see. What is the most important thing to take away from this besides reciprocity that came up over here? And the energy of Venus coming in with Taurus and Libra here, and balance and abundance, and the action of Mars, but that's grounded action. The best and highest good of all is concerned. What's the message to take away here? We got 3 cards coming up. The bottom of the deck is the choice, which is the 62 of the 8 of Swords, which is either imprisonment or release in the choice. That's up to you. And what came out for you is the 47. So we're there. We have the 4 to 7 of the heart to the crown of softening, right? From the heart to the crown is softer of the pearl. In self-initiation of the 12, which is the hanging man, or the masculine and the feminine of the 1 and the 2, which equals the 3, right? That 1 and 2 isn't just 2, but 3. The self-initiation from the vortex here, after softening from the heart to the crown, to allow yourself to receive God's speaking, the 33 of the Christ vibration, which 33 is also the 7 of Wands, of standing your ground, being confident after softening, right? Being confident in self-initiation and speaking to God and knowing that you're speaking to God. And also the 1233 is literally the hanging man and the Christ vibration, right? But you don't have to be hanging on a cross to speak to God. Okay? The choice is up to you, imprisonment or release. The 7 of Cups is heaven in your eyes. It's having lots of choices, allowing yourself to soften to the pearl that grows from all of the wounds that you've been through. It becomes this beautiful pearl of wisdom, allowing you to be the hanged man and see new perspectives in order to enter the vortex and self-initiate your connection, your direct connect to God as God speaks. And let's see what these guys say. Soft. All right, find my Journey of Love book. All right, 47. Soft, a sanctuary bathed in soft light. Your heart is receptive, inviting, and gentle. It brings strength to the weary, comfort to the lonely, and healing to the wounded. It's a magnet for all that is needed, for you, your beloveds, your world. Don't imagine you must always be the fighter going against the part of your nature that longs for harmony and peace. This is time to be soft, to surrender, to let the subtle waves of the heart invite love in, and to receive. In doing so, you will give so much. This oracle brings you a message of peace. Surrender now. Be soft, even just for this moment of quiet reflection. You have perhaps been working too hard at growing and living. Take some moments to replenish and allow the divine to help you, dear one. Be soft so you're receptive to the divine. It is when we let go that we truly perceive the obstacles that lie between us and the oneness with the divine lover. Let go and perceive that the divine lover is already awakened in your heart. The poem reads, you are the softness he desires. You help light his way. You nurture all that he holds dear, though tempest clouds dismay. And in the quiet of the storm, his gentleness comes through, and in the shelter of his arms, his heart is there for you. And I do want to read God Speaks as well, too, since that came up as the final card. It's a short one, too. God Speaks, number 33. The divine is speaking to you directly. Underneath the silence, there's the endless music of love pulsating throughout the universe. Within that sacred sound, there's guidance. It may or may not have words. It might be a feeling in your heart that you can only access when you're still, relaxed, dancing, in a yoga practice, or even half asleep. It assures you that behind any struggle or challenge, there is only ever the divine seeking you out, calling you to surrender some fear or doubt or other so you can move closer. Trust in the sound of love beyond anything else, for in truth, no matter what may appear to be, there is nothing else. This oracle brings your guidance. You are being loved into becoming. Be open to being shown the divine genius in all that is happening. If you feel you're being nudged, know that you're being nudged by the divine. If you feel you're being held back, know you're being held back by the divine. All is happening perfectly for you, and all will unfold in divine timing. The divine is speaking to you. When you're captivated by the beauty of nature, or an illogical sense that everything is okay, listen. That's the divine talking to you, reassuring you that all is unfolding according to spiritual law, in perfect cooperation with your own destiny. And the poem reads, when the first sound was born, the air was filled with fantasy, like the flower's sweet perfume alive in the moment. There was nothing else, only the energy coursing through my body and the tears on my cheeks. I was carried away on the strings, each note striking a chord within and answering with the emotions of my soul. How priceless the surprise, how powerful the memory, to be with the violin when it sings. Spirit's connecting with me. That's my dad popping in too because he played the violin. Okay, guys, thank you for being here and listening. And I'll be back. Hopefully it won't be that long for the next video. But I hope everyone's doing well. Make sure you drink plenty of water. That was coming up. And make sure you get plenty of rest. Ground yourself. All those messages are coming up. And be good to yourself. Laugh and be happy. Okay? Till the next time. Rise and be love. I'll see you guys soon.